today. Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Copple Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Copple is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Copple Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at copplecars.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Mike Smith, founder of The Bay. Join me every Tuesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for your weekly Disrupt, where me and local misfits will interrupt your drive time with this week's most interesting stories in sports, entrepreneurship, and culture. So tune in to your weekly Disrupt every Tuesday afternoon on 93.7 The Ticket, where disruption is just a phone call away.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, welcome to it on a Thursday. This is Old School, brought to you as always by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Special ingredients and butcher shop, 3 Lincoln locations and 1 up in Omaha. Plenty to get to in Husker Land today. Nobody better to do it with than Husker Hall of Famer, 8-year NFL veteran Jay Foreman. He's getting his laptop plugged in. Now it appears Jay is ready.
I'm in the
Jay,
building.
Hello. A happy Thursday to you. A cold Thursday.
Yeah.
Hopefully Nebraska didn't just light money on fire to keep warm.
Hey, man, my pocket's a little
light. Light?
Matt Rhule, where you at, player? Brother, hey. A little hollow. No,
holla at a player when you see him in the streets.
Hey, man, you know what? There's one thing, look, you happy for him, happy for his family. I'm sure, look, here's what I would say this, and this is not directly related to Matt Rhule. But with Lane Kiffin. So I know Lane a little bit. And the biggest thing for Lane, he, at least the last thing he told me. Now things can change. Now, things can drastically change. that you could be like, hey, they give you a contract that will change your mindset. But last thing I heard from Lane, he's very comfortable there. His whole family is there. He has a support system. So when it comes to Matt Rhule, same thing. And it'd be, it's really interesting to see how things move forward. Obviously, they've made a commitment to him, and he's able to really go forward with their plan. I think it was a call to I mean, I can't speak for him. I'm just going off the few things that I've seen. It looks like it was a call to arms when, I don't know what day it was. He was talking about, obviously $30-40 million for the roster and the stadium project and all that. That was kind of like, hey, we want to get to where everybody says they want to get to. We got to try to, operate like the big boys. Now, where that does now flip from here, even though it's not a whole bunch of new money, you kind of shuffling around. I think he maybe gets I haven't seen the details and nor don't care. It's not my money.
So if you would like the details, we heard about the details, in fact.
Yeah, but sure. But I think he's happy with it. Nebraska's happy with it. Now it moves to, now we have to get to, now the pressure's back on the football team and everybody associated with the football program to start to meet those expectations, which is most likely, when you think of it, it's college football playoffs. I mean, when you're up in the ante and all that stuff, that's probably where you're at. I mean, I can't speak for Troy Dannon or anything. I never would, but I mean, I'm sure that's where people are kind of pointing towards, or eventually will.
Having been at the presser, there were a handful of things that stood out to me, starting with Matt Rhule. First and foremost, this is about the program. This is about stability. Troy Dannon said something to the same effect. He said, people want consistency and they want certainty, whether that's the staff that's around or the kids on the roster. The more that we can provide consistency and continuity, it's better for the human mental state. Consistency and continuity is good. It seems like it's something that Nebraska should want. But Jay, I will say this too, whether Matt Rhule left for Penn State or not, I don't think Matt Rhule is on a warm seat by any sense of the imagination, right? Like some national people might be speculating.
Oh, he wasn't going nowhere.
No, I know. Not this year, probably not even next year. But I don't think it would have been program crippling had Matt Rhule left. But he didn't. The important part is that I think he's still here. He can continue to build. And that, to me, is maybe the most important part of what Matt Rhule and Troy Dannon both said. Matt Rhule, we have much, much more to do. I'm not pleased with where we are, but pleased with the direction we're headed. Troy Dannon, let me see if I can find the part where he said that. Something, again, to very similar when asked about the college football playoff, because that was a big part of the incentive structure was you make the college football playoff, you get essentially $1 million per appearance added to Matt Rhule's base salary. Nebraska's in a better spot than they were last year, in a better spot than they were even the year before that. So Troy Dannon seems to think that Nebraska is heading in the right direction. And that, I think, ultimately ended up being why this contract got done. Troy Dannon pointed out that you can't just judge a coach based off the record. Yes and no. The record's pretty important. Matt Rhule's record at Nebraska isn't overwhelming, and Troy Dannon pointed out that, Matt Rhule's a coach that takes jobs in the batter's box, not jobs on third base, and pushes them over the edge. But right or wrong, for better or for worse, Nebraska and Matt Rhule ought to now be tied together through 2032. And Troy Dannon set it up as this is both sides betting on each other. It's Troy Dannon and his staff and the Nebraska stakeholders betting on Matt Rhule, saying, yes, we have seen enough signs of progress that now is the right time to reward you with an extension. Not exactly sight unseen, because we've seen tangible steps of progress in terms of the record. But Troy Dannon said you don't judge everything based just off the record. And there's a lot going on behind the scenes that people don't necessarily see outside the walls. I'm confident in where the program is going, but we aren't there yet, is what Dannon said. And then on Matt Rhule's side of things, it's easy to say, oh, yeah, why wouldn't he take more money? Why wouldn't he take more job security?
No.
Why wouldn't he take, more buyout money? But Troy Dannon framed it as, Well, this was a bit of a risk for Matt Rhule, too, a guy that's called for more investment for Nebraska, especially in the roster. By signing this extension, Troy Dannon says this signals Matt Rhule betting on Nebraska being able to reach the challenge that he laid out for the university, its boosters, its donors, and whatnot in the years to come.
Yeah, I mean, there's some risk there because, you know, when you ask for more, you have to deliver. And, you know, this is, I mean, it's not a, you know, he's not got a whole revamped and he's like doubling this out. It's not like when you go from Kirk Sidnetti, I think he was like $4.5 million to 11, you know, average per year.
Yeah.
But when you look at Matt Rhule's contract, his contract is more than Signetti's, you know, when you look at the whole deal. So that ups the expectations. It will, and certainly should up the standard. And, you know, now there is no leeway. There still is, but, you know, obviously you're going to want to, next year, you know, the schedule is no joke. It doesn't matter. So, you know, I like it. You know, look, if I believe in what I'm doing, you know, and certainly he does, I'm okay. I'm going to ask for more, and then I'm going to expect more, and I'm going to demand more, and so be it. He's always been able to go in and, you know, I never viewed Nebraska as a fixed job. I didn't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't think you come to a place like this. Here's, you know how to fix a program? You win. You know why we haven't lost? We lost before because guys weren't trying to win. Okay, period. You weren't doing the things you're winning. So by him coming in and working, it was never it was never crossed my mind like you had to come in and fix stuff. Like you had to fix habits. But by your presence, that's going to happen because you fixed your habit. Your habits dictate what I did. You want to know here's an example. Listen, Coach Osborne couldn't run a 40 before Christmas comes after January. That means it'd take him a year. But let me tell you something. Every day after practice, okay, by the time I went in and got my lift, showered, and whatever, you know, if I had to get any treatment, that man was out there working. That man went up there and put in extra hours. So his habits led to the assistant coaches down to the players, and then we magnified it. So his habits makes everybody do it. So it's not a fix. It's more or less he just, by his presence, will dictate the everyday habits. Now onto the field is where you know you're going to want to see the payoff. And look, so Temple and Baylor are not Nebraska. It never will be.
No.
You know what I'm saying? And what he had to do there is somewhat apples to apples. You know, it's not apples to apples. What I'm saying. You know, going into Temple is essentially a lot different than when he went into Baylor. Now, there's the principles are right, the standards and everything had to be different. When you go to Baylor, they were winning. Look, they just had a cesspool of like culture. You know what I'm saying? Like the head coach was fostering all this other bad behavior. That's not his behavior. So
never has been,
right.
Probably never will.
So either you're going to get on my board and the way I'm doing things and the way we have to do it, because I have to strip it all down. I got to get my bad apples out of here and there. Where you come here, there wasn't a lot of bad apples. Now you just had to get he had to change what the idea and what the picture of real work is at a big time university. And by his habits, and you see what he was doing, it changed. Now you get in there, you got, I'm assuming there's going to be a little bit of a bump in the recruiting pool, like what do you call it? NIL or whatever you want to call it, right? All right. So now we got to get down. We got, now we got to lock up with big boys. But once you get the roster set, and also from here on out for the next 4 weeks, the rest of the season has changed. Like that. It is already a winner take all game. Now you're getting a glimpse into what potentially could be next year. And so, look, you gotta be happy for them. They're both all in. There's probably going to be more changes after, like more things you see, and it just got to lead to more wins and losses.
My last thing on this, we'll go for a few more minutes before we absolutely get into Nebraska USC. Some really interesting third quarter numbers I saw from a couple different people put out there. And then obviously what's going on at LSU. We'll get to that in hour 2 after Thursday. Jay, I'll say this. I'm kind of with the people right now who are maybe outside the Nebraska specific bubble asking, more questions about the extension than fully on board with it. I like Matt Rhule. I get why they did it. It's the normal part of college football business. I'm not sure I would have done the extension, right? I mean, you have people talking about the overall record, right? Troy Dannon says, well, that's not necessarily the only thing that we can judge off of, right? You have to be a little bit closer than this. But I don't think that we've seen enough, of the high level success, but Troy Dannon believes that it's coming. Okay, and that's fine. It's a slow build. Matt Rhule told you as much. But even if I wouldn't have offered the extension the way that, Troy Dannon, his staff, his people did, I do have to give them props. I do have to give them credit for the way in which they went about it, the way in which they did it, right? Yeah. The fact that conversations about this were happening, Troy Dannon said even as early as the summer, and then the timeline got accelerated with the openings over the last handful of weeks. That's bound to speed up a process like this naturally. But not adding any money to the base pay and making it all incentive-based, I think is a big win for Nebraska's athletic department. We'll get to some more of this when we hear from Jeff Landry, actually the governor of Louisiana, regarding the buyout for Brian Kelly, having fired him, some fascinating comments and such down there in the Bayou. And I know they're two completely different places. But if Matt Rhule was going... LSU and Nebraska?
Are they? I'm asking you. Is it?
There are similarities. There are certainly differences.
Well, sure. The ones in Nebraska and ones in Louisiana.
Well, they're
that, but what's the difference?
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. And yes, I think Hizzlebear, this isn't the year to look for a coach. Huge win for Nebraska. But I think it was Jim Harbaugh, like we talked about before, maybe Sharon Moore too. I like the idea of incentive-based contracts, where for Matt Rhule and his side, it's a win because you keep the same base pay. You don't go down, right? You probably weren't going to go down in terms of the average annual value. Of course, you're looking for a raise, but at the very least, it's security. Troy Dannon seems to believe that Matt Rhule is genuine when he says, yeah, some of this was about my family. We love it here. We want to be here. Troy Dannon says he's maybe more upfront about that than people give him credit for, him being Matt Rhule in this. So they get the stability. And for Nebraska, yeah, you up the buyout money, right? If someone tries to come poach Matt Rhule, that's a win for them.
But the buyout money is if you get fired.
Well, two different ways, right? There's two different ways of the buyout, right?
I call it a transfer fee.
Okay, so the transfer fee went back up, right? The buyout from X school to Nebraska went up. It's now $15 million for this year. And Troy Dannon said that'll stair step down in the future the later you get in a contract. But Matt Rhule's buyout also went up in case something happens performance-wise because 90% of the contract is guaranteed all the way through the end. That means instead of, $49 million right now, if hypothetically Nebraska were to fire Matt Rhule, again, not going to happen. Don't get your panties in a bunch. It'd be $71 million. So Matt Rhule still gets the 90% guarantee for his buyout. So there's the security for him, the little bit of the risk mitigation for him in Nebraska would be on the hook for. But right now, it kind of feels like an overpay. No college football playoff appearances, not really even knocking on the door. But here in Nebraska is, at least at the table, at least right now in year 3, entering November, Nebraska has a shot. Not a great shot, not quite a three-quarters court shot, but, maybe between three-quarters court and half court shot of making the college football playoff. It is on the table. It is achievable if things go the way Nebraska wants them to. This contract will look worse and worse the longer it goes with no college football playoff appearances because the money does keep creeping up. But the only way that it escalates beyond that, the way that Troy Dannon got away with not escalating the base pay toward the back end of the contract, 2030 and beyond, was, okay, if you want more money, you want that stair step to continue, make the college football playoff. And it has to be the 16-team or less playoff. If it goes to 24, Troy Dannon says, no pay bump until you reach the round of 16. So, again, even if I wouldn't have offered the contract extension right now myself, I, A, get why it happened, and B, really can appreciate and get behind the manner in which Troy Dannon went and did it, because I was on board. I said this on the show multiple times. Don't put yourself on the hook for more money than you think you can handle, especially in light of Matt Rhule's comments before.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I guess a team-friendly deal. I think, obviously incentive-based, and then you got to pay for it. Sure, Rhule's betting on himself. and by betting on yourself, you got a little bit bigger buyout if they choose that you're, Brian Kelly and not, reaching certain parameters or whatever it may be. So sure, anytime you do an extension with the way that college football is right now, the climate around coaches and the amount of money that coaches are potentially getting when they get fired, which people are just looking at the big number, not understanding that James Franklin is going to be employed within the next cycle or two. Billy Napier will be employed in some form or fashion in the next cycle or two.
To answer Brad's question, does that mean Nebraska is getting a new offensive line coach? I would at least ask Billy Napier.
For what? Billy Napier for what?
OL.
Why would you do that?
If he wants to be a power conference head coach, doesn't get the opportunity. Rehab some values position coach and then try again in 3 years.
So everybody's like solution is just fire the coach.
I'm not fully on board with that. I just think it's an interesting avenue to think about.
That's how you get to it right here. That's how you get. That's what I don't think people. That's exactly how you end up in the dungeon periodically since 1999, whenever it was, because a coach can only do so much. I keep saying it, and I'm not really understanding if people. I know people aren't listening, but it's factual. A coach can only do so much. Like Matt Rhule can come recruit Jay Foreman, get Chuck Foreman to sign off on here, and I get here. Majority of it is on me to make whatever options that he provides for me the best. It's not on the coach. Like if you're a player out there, and I it's not a coach's fault when you miss a tackle. Now, sure, there's things that every coach can do to be better. Sure, there's probably stuff that Coach Osborne wish he could do better. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time. Matter of fact, Nick Saban says it. It's sooner or later you got to take accountability of what you're doing out there, because when you start pointing the finger, you become weak. As a fan base, you become weak. You're very reactionary. And when you're reactionary, you're always late to the party. You're always playing catch up. At some point in time, you have to focus on one thing and one thing only, and that is winning. Period. Winning doesn't mean be like, okay, all right, well, the linebackers ain't tackling well. We need a little linebacker coach. Well, if this dude comes in, well, then that's not. Well, then we need a new DB coach. By the time you just keep spinning your wheels and you're not developing anybody, and all these coaches that are getting these buyouts, most likely back to the point they'll get employed, especially if they're young enough. Now, Bill Belichick, if he would ever go, he could probably retire just because he's a little bit older. But most of these coaches will get, that it's not they. Penn State won't have to pay that whole $54 million. Is the money a lot? Sure. You need to thank, Mel Tucker for it. Lincoln Riley's on a little bit of hot seat. Quiet as kept. USC's on national TV. Nebraska beats the brakes off of them. That flight home just got a little bit longer. USC has shown you they will fire you on the tarmac.
They have done that before.
What makes him any different? Right? And so, a new contract extension to kind of bring some more light in there, the big recruiting weekend, so forth and so on. And everybody's it's all hands on deck. It just is up the ante on, the type of standard and pressure there's. I mean, I will say this out there right now for the big three schools that are out there, the coaches pool is very slim.
Mm-hmm.
Now they'll tell you whoever they hire is great. I'm going to be realistic. The coaches pool is very slim.
1508 said, could Penn State potentially have a situation like Nebraska when the Huskers hired Bill Callahan? He was the fourth option at best. Kind of feels like where you're going. If you're not able to poach a sitting head coach that you really like, and again, we don't have anything confirmed about, phone calls to Signetti. Troy Dannon says Penn State wasn't one of the calls that he got regarding Matt Rhule, which, if that's true, says a lot about a couple different groups of people that we don't have time to get into as we're up against the clock. But I think to your point here, Jay, is that, there's a lot of decently interesting or better jobs available and not as many decently interesting or better coaches, at least on the surface, that you would think to fill them.
Yeah, and you're going to go through growing pains with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't hire a Penn State guy, if you don't hire an LSU guy or somebody that's actually truly going to accept the LSU ways,
Mm-hmm.
you'll be right back where you are in 4 years from now, maybe even faster. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so unless you win at a rate that they're okay with it, but as soon as you don't win, okay, you're gone. So coaching at these places is not like coaching at Minnesota, coaching at Illinois, heck, even coaching at Indiana. It's not even like coaching at Oregon. They don't have like a real big football tradition. They don't got any like real like hard-nosed like type of football out there. What are they known for? Like, and this is not, I mean, I like Dan Lanning, right? I do. Didn't particularly like some of the stuff, but I as I kind of really, started to kind of, I like him, right? So when you're in the real blue bloods, it's different, man. So now that they're out there and then now you're looking, sure, you might have a young, like in Florida's case, Billy Napier. What they want him? Be CEO and kind of be hands off and do his thing. Let his staff do that. Well, then now you didn't like the staff. You made him fire some of his staff. Well, then now you fired him because he wasn't coaching effectively enough. For the same reason you hired him, you fired him.
Yeah. This became really convenient for you to be able to twist those words at the end.
All the while because he didn't win at the magnitude in the short snapshot that you wanted. And that's coming off the last little like run last year where he ruined what? He ruined Ole Miss, Texas A&M, and LSU's playoff role, right? So they were back. And then the quarterback didn't play well. And then you go from there. And it's you got 06-57. Nebraska isn't a blue blood anymore. There is truth to that, but there isn't truth to that. You're right, and we're both right, and we're both wrong.
I mean, blue blood is history. Nebraska's not performing up to that standard, but it doesn't mean you can undo all the history.
But it also, what is your definition of a blue blood? How old are you 06-57? I don't need to know exactly, but if you're a young fan, your idea of a blue blood is different than the people that are actually owning these TV contracts, understanding the people that are actually your biggest donors. They view what a blue blood is a lot different than a younger person. Because a blue blood to a younger person, a younger fan, is Oregon.
Ooh, I don't know how young you'd have to be to say Oregon's a blue blood.
Just walk through the airport. I'm telling you, if you asked a fan who they view as like one of the top teams in college football, Oregon would be in there. How many national championships they have? So in their mind, that's a blue blood, a national champion, a blue blood. Sure, you can say Georgia, but is Georgia past this recent like little uptick? Are they really a blue blood?
Georgia kind of feels like Villanova in some ways.
Right.
Had a run before, had a championship before, went through a dry spell, played pretty well, never was able to get over the hump until you finally did. You got your 2, and now questions.
Right.
Now, difference is Kirby's still around, Jay Wright is not, but just for example.
But just in recent, this is where they're at, right? Like more recent. That's where you're at.
Final thing here, we'll go to break. We got this from someone on YouTube. Extension was not worth it. Not sure if Rhule can turn the corner. Fair to wonder. Nebraska seems to think he can. Matt Rhule seems to think he can. At the end of the day, Jay, here's where I fall. Maybe not the best move for Nebraska. Certainly not the worst move for Nebraska. Was it the best move for Nebraska? Time will tell. I think the program is in a better spot with Matt Rhule than without him. I think it's the next step on the journey. I think at the end of the day, it made too much sense on the surface to not do something for Matt Rhule with everything going on.
Well, you got to when you got it. I mean, it's not that big. I mean, really is just you probably a year ahead of what now the pressure is on.
Yeah.
Versus like next year would have been the year that maybe you get the extension you did a year early. So now.
Okay. And Troy Dannon even said something to that effect. Since you brought it up, says there's a lot to it. He's been very straight with me, but I have 3 rules about extensions. Number 1, compensate someone for what you believe before they're worth it. Or sorry. Number 1, compensate someone for what you believe they're worth before you have to.
Yes, don't be Jerry Jones.
Right. Yeah. Don't pay him too late. Pay him early. Number 2, market-based pay for expectations for where you think the program should be. And number 3, support them in reaching that goal. That's the statement Nebraska made here today.
There you go. I need that too. Troy,
Jay's people will be reaching out. Troy Dannon.
Hey, man, you get my email. We got to see where
Your phone better not be on silent, Mr. Dannon. Don't do it. Don't leave my boy hanging like that. We'll be back more on Hour 1 of Old School after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Fall is here, and so are cooler temps, darker evenings, and slick roads. Is your vehicle ready for the change in seasons? At A1 Automotive, we've got you covered. From tire checks, brake inspections, batteries, and heater systems, we make sure your car is road ready for the Nebraska winters ahead. Don't wait until the first frost. Schedule your fall car care checkup today and drive with confidence all season long. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details, or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Are you tired of your usual barbershop experience? Stop into Scissors and Scotch today. I know what you're thinking. Drink during a haircut? Don't worry. First comes the precision cut from one of their experienced barbers, followed by your complimentary cocktail in their upscale lounge. Scissors and Scotch blends your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. And now you can earn $10 off by simply mentioning the ticket. And if you're an existing member, still mention the ticket for an exclusive offer. Offer valid at Lincoln location only. Scissors and Scotch, located just south of 30th and Yankee Hill, and online at lincoln.scissorscotch.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
There's always a new experience to be had at Arbor Day Farm in Nebraska City. From events, adventures, wine tastings, or the Discovery Ride, you can never get tired of seeing what the property has to offer. Make a weekend out of it by staying at the Lead Lodge and enhance your stay with their special packages that include luxurious treatment. Learn more or book your adventure today online at arbordayfarm.org.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting lincolnteammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School with Foreman and Orman. I'm the Orman half. He's the Foreman half. 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. This was probably the lesser of the important things that we touched on in that last segment, Jay, but I do want to give you a chance to address it. I think I know what you're going to say, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. So I'm just going to throw this out here. Jeremy asks, so what Jay is saying is Nebraska shouldn't have hired Mike Eckler. Look at the turnaround on special teams. Why can't that happen on the offensive line next year?
Well, sure. I mean, I think it's it's 2 different things, but sure. Yeah. Mike Eckler's done a great job. I'm just not, I'm not going to be talking about firing coaches during the year. I mean, first of all, I think that's low class, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, it's just not, I don't think that's just good. That's not good business. And so, sure. I mean, Mike Eckler was hired at the beginning of the year or whenever it was, when there's a opening. So I'm not going to talk about O-line. I'm going to say it again. Sacks are an offensive stat. Sure, some are on the O-line, some on the quarterback, some on the running back, some on the receivers. Some are just by just getting beat. Everybody needs to get better. I mean, listen, I could tell you the most thankless position coach that you could be at Nebraska. If I was a new coach, say they hiring Jay Foreman from Kennesaw State. I just saw them play last night. And I come in, I'm supposed to be the next coming of Alex Gibbs from the O-line coach. He's the old Denver Broncos coach.
Yeah. I believe he's up for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, rightfully so. You come here as an O-line coach based on years before you step foot in Lincoln, you already be like, oh, well, that's I got to pay for their sins. You know what I mean? And some of it's been earned, some of it hasn't. I just do not ever talk about firing a coach unless it's a like a person that like
off the field
type of
something.
Yeah. And that's generally earned.
Well, the other thing I will try to speak for you now and put some words in your mouth is that I think you would say with special teams, Nebraska was never as bad as its play showed. The athletes on the team were better and they should have been better, but they weren't better. And so maybe it was the new scheme or whatever, but I think you would say the coach just found either a better way to get it out of them or the players finally started living up to their standard to where, yes, the coach makes a difference. Yes, the scheme can make a difference. But I think I've heard you argue at multiple points. Nebraska's players never should have been that bad and probably never were that bad.
Yeah.
And so they should have been better than they showed, which only has so much to do with coaching.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit of both. I mean, I can tell you, I've been on the side of the player and I'll tell you, and see, this is where I'll say Donnie doesn't fit this script. So I was on Buffalo. First 3 years we go to the playoffs. Then we end up losing the Music City Miracle. Come back the next year, and we were still had the hangover from there. Special teams was not good because there was pressure for Wade to fire Bruce DeHaven, or maybe his contract. I don't know what the deal was. I mean, by then you didn't even know just because when you came back from minicamp, you wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because we didn't, internet, and it was, very, new. So we got Ronnie Jones, right? Who was originally going to be hired, according to him, to be a defensive assistant, right? Took over special teams with no experience. We were horrible. Right? Because he thought that he was going to get help from the other coaches, and the other coaches didn't help him because they were probably upset at Bruce DeHaven gun. And this is a long time ago. Well, here comes my man Danny Smith, who's still the head special teams coach for Pittsburgh. Long time, probably one of the Bruce DeHaven, all those guys, special teams coach gurus of like the Mount Rushmore, like that. That's a drastic change from a coach that's never coached special teams before to one of the best of all time. I don't think that's the case with the O-line. And again, I don't think that's I just don't. I look at the O-line. I just know that these guys are better than sometimes what they play. I feel like they played better last week. They played better against Maryland. Nobody said anything. And you have a bad game, they get rid of them. You do that with the head coach. I mean, hey, I'm sure Matt Rhule probably gets emails all the time when we lose. I'm sure after Minnesota, right? I've been there. Heck, I had 90,000 people were calling in there. I remember driving home. They're like, we need to get rid of this dude. He's a menace. I don't know. I mean, it's easy to do. That's what fans are supposed to do. So it's just part of the job.
Virginia Pirate says, I'm not sold on Rhule yet. I'm not out on him either, but he's got to beat somebody, and games like Minnesota can't happen. I'd agree generally the program is going in the right direction, but it's got a ways to go. So I'm indifferent about the extension. It's still interesting to me, Jay, to hear people sound off about Minnesota, because for some people it was existential. Oh, he doesn't have it. Oh, he'll never have it. How could that happen? But on the flip side of that, maybe it can still be the one-off, right? And that's where I think the response to Minnesota in Northwestern, the event happens and then the response happens. You got to weigh both of them appropriately. I'm not going to say evenly, because I do think there were plenty of concerning things about the way that Nebraska lost to Minnesota. But can you say with a straight face over the last 7-8 years, Nebraska would have responded the same way against Northwestern? Both things can be true. Is that Nebraska dropped the ball against Minnesota in the way that it looked is inexcusable and shouldn't happen, but also that, hey, guess what? Sometimes it does happen. How do you deal with it when it does? And Nebraska's in a better spot to deal with it now than it has been for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think, the willingness to compete is obviously definitely different than in years past, right? And the willingness to find a way to figure it out, no matter who they're playing against. Obviously, the schedule's a little light, but you got to do what you got to do. You can't overlook that, and so you're able to see a response. I think you saw the response last year where you go to Indiana on national TV, and kind of the game got out of hand real quick, and and it really wasn't an effort thing. I think that just the game, like the little things, just, that led to big things, got out of hand real quick. And maybe they just weren't ready for that type of moment. Indiana was rolling. They were at home. It was their coming out party. And then the next week you go to Ohio State. Sure, sleepy 11 o'clock start, but you definitely remedied what you didn't do the week before in competitiveness. And you did it even the first year. I think after the Michigan game, I think, remember they practiced on Sunday, then they played better the next week. So there you're seeing them being able to respond. I think what you want now, based on, the offseason hype and all that, you want aesthetically pleasing games week in and week out. And that's the next step. And in this era of transfer portal, it's a little bit harder because you're not able to, foster that true culture to where it's rinse and repeat every week. And so, you'll get a game where you get punched in the face and you don't respond, and you look like, you got every excuse, under the sun, and the reason why you didn't play well. Now, what do you do from there? And do you always keep that in the back of your mind? And do you really, go through the process of really remedying that so it doesn't happen again? And then moving forward, whether it's an extension or not, the extension's done, really shouldn't change anything, but actually should amplify things. What I mean is change anything in the sense of, you got to, sacrifice some more and all that, but it's going to amplify things on how you go about your business day in and day out from a top level standpoint, right? You got to recruit a little bit harder. You got to evaluate a little bit harder. You got to be a little bit more demanding. You got to be a little bit more detailed. You got a little bit, how you do things outside of the stadium is probably amplified as well. How you treat people, how, the standard of dealing with hard conversations have to be on point, because now it's obviously maybe 85% or say 75%, what you do on Saturdays or whenever the games are, but the majority of the year you're not playing football. So all those things go into effect. And if you want an example, look at Brian Kelly, right? It was kind of funny when he came in there and had the accent. He's from like Massachusetts somewhere or something like that. That's definitely, you have no Louisiana in your blood. And then he had the thing where he was on the 360 thing and he looked a little out of place, but it was okay, right? And he had remedied some of his, initially, some of his shortcomings at Notre Dame. How he approached some certain media people, how he just dealt with people. He got, he got better at it. Now, he obviously with the young man that was up in the scaffold, but I think that's kind of really changed things. He had to. And then he got down there, and then he had the player that, I think he had a hit, and then he got brain cancer. He's healthy now. He's on all the shows. And then the little things, and those are all outside of football, right? We're just waiting in the wings until against Texas A&M. But what you have to understand, I guess, as a coach or just as a whole caboodle, is they all go together.
Yeah.
They all go together. And so, but now that you have more eyes on the program, certainly this Saturday night's going to be huge. But it's not going to stop with Saturday night. It's going to continue to get bigger and, more tense.
Sure will. We got a couple other things to get to on our text line. We'll wrap up hour one of Old School, get you set up for Thirsty Thursday, and hour two right after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Copple Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Copple is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Copple Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at copplecars.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Hi, everybody. Charlie Stone back again with Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, there are so many great things to talk about right now. Let's start with new and pre-owned vehicles.
Thanks, Charlie. Yeah, we're all excited those days of inventory shortages are behind us. Right now, we have more than 400 new Hondas to choose from and over 125 pre-owned with just about any make or model in stock.
I know certified pre-owned Hondas are a very important part of your dealership. Tell us about Certified, Andy.
We always have a great selection of certified pre-owned Hondas in stock in like new condition, and they also come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
How about service?
You know, our amazing service department not only services Hondas, but we service just about any make, and we are one of the largest tire dealers in the state. Look us up the next time you need tires on your car.
Experience the best at the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Celebrate Halloween with the Lincoln Stars a day early on Thursday, October 30th, as the Stars host the Sioux City Musketeers. Wear your favorite costume to the game, as there's a contest for both adults and kids with prizes for both age levels. Also, it's a Chuck-a-Puck night, and PBR beers are 2 for $6. It's Halloween Eve at the Icebox on Thursday, October 30th versus the Sioux City Musketeers. Get your tickets today at LincolnStars.com.
You're invited to a Halloween karaoke party at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards on October 31st. Stop by Madsen's from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. for live music and a live podcast, costume contest, poker, and of course, karaoke. Admission is free, and there's still plenty of TVs to catch the Friday night college football games as well. That's 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday, October 31st for the Halloween karaoke party at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holder.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Are you looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through October at Landmark Implement, get up to a 24-month waiver on select John Deere tractors and combines, or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by a qualified standard rate for another 36 months. Whether you're thinking of this year's harvest or planning ahead, we've got a solution that works for your bottom line. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details, or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock, perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop!
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown's Shoe Fit. Now through October 31st, take $15 off any regularly priced fall shoes and boots. Brands like Keen, Oboes, Echo, Taos, and Atrex, all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale you've all been waiting for, so get down to Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here we go, wrapping up hour 1 of Old School. Lost Norman J. Foreman here. Kevin Meyer, Myers Cork, and Abada will be here momentarily. Old Dad 34, Jay, says Rhule's extension helps the team keep recruits already in the fold and will help future recruits want to come play for Nebraska, in my opinion. I'm going to throw this then down to Corey. Corey, you're one of the first people to text in. Sorry, we're just now getting to this one. But he says, I think Nebraska's gone way too deep into a spiral for so long that it's wild to say Rhule leaving wouldn't have been program crippling. The place cannot withstand more turnover and fully rebuilding, which is 2 votes in the continuity and consistency bucket. And I think that's all fair to say. It can be true. But the boat that I'm trying to stay out of is the if he can't do it, who can boat. Again, I think on aggregate, Matt Rhule has been good for Nebraska. He has done enough good things to turn the program around in the right direction that it would be a risk for Nebraska to have had to go through a coaching search. Had Matt Rhule said, you know what, Penn State's open, they called, I took the job, you guys will understand. No matter how much I love Lincoln, I always will. It's been a great few years in my heart, but, it's Penn State. It's the job for me. I'm leaving, right? That would have been detrimental to Nebraska. It would not have been good. But I don't think it would have been, program crippling, right? I think Matt Rhule would even say that the place has to be bigger than one person. And Husker fans, I would caution you against that too, because if Scott Frost can't win at Nebraska, who can? Yeah. If you're not jaded by that, if you don't have some pause in that kind of savior complex, which I don't think Matt Rhule has one or exhibits one to that degree, right? Every coach has an ego in some form or fashion. But I want to take Matt Rhule at his word and believe that he's the worker who wants to be, down on his hands and knees, investing the blood, sweat, and tears to build Nebraska back to where it wants to be. But the program at Nebraska, whether Matt Rhule was here or not, it has to be bigger than one person, has to be bigger than Matt Rhule, because it's not the Matt Rhule Cornhuskers. It's the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And yes, Matt Rhule, I think, has been a generally positive steward of the program. But let's say, just hypothetical here, play along with me. Let's say Matt Rhule looks at the situation from the outside and says, you know what? James Franklin was a really good coach for Penn State. He got close to winning a championship by making the semis last year. He's won double-digit games for time unimaginable, really, at Penn State. It's been a while since he didn't win double-digit games or even 9 games or less, right?
Yeah.
Going to be, I accept the challenge. It'd be hard for me to follow that, but I really do like what we have going on here at Nebraska. I don't think the time is right for me to leave Penn State. What that also offers Matt Rhule the ability to do is sit back, see how this next guy does at Penn State coming up. And again, let's say, over the next 4 years, Nebraska wins, let's say 35 games or so over the next 4 years, averaging 8 or 9 wins a year. Penn State's guys averaging, say 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Would Penn State have an itchy trigger finger again? Oh, well, this guy was supposed to take us over the top. They didn't. We see Matt Rhule has really elevated Nebraska. He's there on the doorstep of the playoff, maybe gotten in a time or two. Now we can go get it. I think it would be better for Matt Rhule to be the guy that follows the guy rather than the guy that follows James Franklin. He could be pulling the Jeff Brom card right now. And I believe that he loves Lincoln, wants to stay here, great for his family, all of that. I do believe he's sincere in that. Troy Dannon says he is. But it might also be beneficial for Matt Rhule in his career to ride it out at Nebraska for a little bit, get the guarantee, the safety, the bonus that he could potentially get down the road. And yes, it's a risk to maybe not take the Penn State job had it been officially offered or not right now, if that's the job he really wants to get. But look how well it's worked out for Jeff Brom at Louisville in waiting for the right time. After Bobby Petrino, he was one of the calls that Louisville made. He says, nope, I'm good at Purdue. They get Scott Satterfield. And now Jeff Brom's been able to have success with maybe even a little bit less pressure on him. He's had the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it could. I mean, it's a big risk if you want to, if that's in your mind to go back to your alma mater, and maybe Brom, that's what he wanted to do. I truly believe the way it worked out for Brom is 100% luck, because there's other things that a lot of things got to happen. Plus, you got to be pretty dang good at where you're at when you kind of.
Well, there's luck, but there's also Scott Satterfield. Like, was he ever going to be the answer?
You just never know. What if he was?
Well, you never know.
Yeah, but I mean,
true. Yeah,
but okay, say Scott Satterfield isn't. Well, obviously, wasn't the answer.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you fail at Purdue to where you're not as appealing?
Right.
So it's a big risk if to turn down that type of job if that's what you ultimately or always wanted to do. Sometimes I think you might know too much, and you might just say, okay, I'm comfortable with where I'm at, and I don't want to risk, upsetting and turning over everything.
Mhm.
And is the juice worth the squeeze? I mean, if you want to look at it, like the reason, I don't know, you never know what Lane's going to do, but there's other factors to why Lane's very comfortable at a place where he probably is at his ceiling right there. A lot of things got to go really well. A lot of other teams got to dip down a little bit for Ole Miss to take over where he could be potentially where he's at other places. But his family's there. His extended family's there. His brother's there. He has a great support system. He's probably been to some places and, mentally some dark places that, that he probably never wants to go back to. And he feels very comfortable, so that you can't put a price tag on that.
Last thing then from 3578, who is happier, Nebraska fans or Penn State fans? I think it's got to be Nebraska fans. You kept a good coach. He signed on for 2 more years. Your program is headed in the right direction. You have fewer existential questions going on right now. I get it. Penn State's been more successful in recent years. They're the ones going through a coaching search. Nebraska's not. Nebraska has, at the very least, a good college football coach in Matt Rhule, as opposed to no coach. Yeah, I don't think that's even really a fair question to ask. If you're not happier, at Nebraska right now with the coaching position than Penn State, I think something's pretty off.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska fans are way more, or in general, happier. We have your coach, or our coach, excuse me, and you don't have a coach. I mean, Penn State's like, I know it's during the season, and you're giving the interim coach, as much, chances possible. That ain't happening. All right, I could tell you why, but you already know why. Okay, that's not happening. So the fact that unless they're doing a really good job of keeping their guy that they got under wraps, they've been left on read quite a few times. And something now you're looking at, like, maybe we pulled the trigger too quick on James Franklin. Because that pool out there is awfully shallow.
Been shallow. Somehow getting shallower.
Yeah.
No, it's not shallow. The pour is from Kevin Meyer, Meyer's Cork and Bottle. They'll be back Thursday, right after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock. Perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Big news, Nebraska. Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska Insider today.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Copple Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Copple is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Copple Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at copplecars.com.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
You're invited to a Halloween karaoke party at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards on October 31st. Stop by Madsen's from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. for live music and a live podcast, costume contest, poker, and of course, karaoke. Admission is free, and there's still plenty of TVs to catch the Friday night college football games as well. That's 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday, October 31st for the Halloween karaoke party at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holder.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Why wait until Friday to start your weekend?
Go ahead, start right now.
You're thirsty now, and 93.7 The Ticket is here to help you stock up.
Just in time for the weekend when I like to hit the clubs.
Time to broaden your horizons and try some new wine and beer. It's Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer from Meyer's Cork and Bottle.
Ooh.
Woohoo! Maybe a 7.
It's good. We'll take it. Oh, that was clean.
That's always good.
That was crisp. Welcome in. It is Thirsty Thursday, 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com. Moss, Norman, J. Foreman, and the man in the middle, anchoring us in a good way, not dragging us down, but holding us in place, keeping us steady and solid. Uncle Kev, Kevin Meyer, Myers, Cork and Bottle. Welcome in, good sir.
Gentlemen, glad to be here. Thank you for having me. It's always my favorite time of the week. Thursday starts the weekend, and I'm happy to share it with you.
Kevin, I will ask you to please look at the TV screen and tell me what you think.
Look at that.
Do you like it?
I do. I've got my own banner on the screen.
You do.
Look at me. Holy moly.
You're official. It's been too long. Like you said, I've been doing this for what, 10 years, 11 years now?
Ever since the station opened. I believe the very first month the station opened was the very first Thirsty Thursday. So however long that's been.
Well, it was long overdue that you would have your own graphic. And so I humbly present to you Thirsty Thursday with Myers Cork and Bottle, the official graphic on 93.7 The Ticket streams.
That's awesome. I'm very grateful. That's really, really cool. Thank you for that.
It's the very least we could do. You know, we've got things moving in the right direction. Shout out to Gracie helping me get everything put together.
Gracie?
Yeah, it was a little tough matching the colors because I'm not the most experienced in Photoshop and knowing how it works.
Me neither.
But we got there.
We did get there.
And that's the important part.
Yeah, and it's on there. So that's really cool. And you were able to rip the logo, I'm guessing, from the interwebs.
Indeed.
And there we are. This is impressive.
Maybe I should have asked you if that was copyright infringement or something, but I didn't figure you would mind too
Hey,
much.
infringe all you want. Put my logo wherever you feel like it. You go right ahead.
It is right here on our stream. Get to our Starter Heyman Jewelers streams if you would like, as well as 13th and South to stop by Myers, Cork, and Bottle. Let's dive into it here, Kevin. What's the theme we know you're big on, and what are we drinking?
Well, okay, so we're fully embracing the blackout. Nice. And so we are doing a beer called Fair State Black Pills. And this comes from
the Black Hills?
No, it does not, but it comes from the great state of Jay Foreman of Minnesota.
And, it's going to taste good now.
And it's a black Pilsner, which is really unique. So basically, Pilsners and lagers are cold fermented beers that generally ferment at around 45 degrees, and they ferment in the bottom of the tank, and they take a lot longer to make. Ales ferment at 60 degrees. They ferment in the top of the tank, and you can crank those out in 10 days to 2 weeks. And so basically, Pilsners and lagers, while on the surface seem more simple, are actually more difficult beers to make because, number one, they take longer. Number two, there's nothing added to them to cover up any impurities, imperfections, or mistakes made by the brewer. Now, what they do with this one is that they roast the malts, giving it that dark color, but it's still relatively a light beer. It comes in just over a hair over 4%. And so the roasting of the malts is going to give you some of that chocolate note. It's going to give you some of that coffee note, but it's not heavy. And so it's kind of an anomaly, but it's also black in the glass. So we're fully embracing the blackout, as I say.
They use any Lake Minnetonka water with this?
That was a Purple Rain reference for you playing at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not Lake Minnetonka.
No. It's good. I like this.
It's an easy drinking beer. It looks like it's going to be heavy. It looks like it's going to be thick. It's not. It's clean. But yeah, you do get that touch of coffee. You do get that touch of chocolate. And it's just a good darn beer. I think this would be a great beer to tailgate with.
You get the little bitter from all those different avenues, like the coffee bitter, the cocoa bitter, and even like the bitter beer a little bit. But it's not overwhelming. Like it looks fully leaded. It even like looks like it's going to drink a little bit heavy, but that is surprisingly smooth and easy.
I'm impressed. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it could be molasses. Yeah, 4.9%, so not heavy. Fair State Brewing out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, home of the Foreman family, and our good buddy Jay sitting to my left.
I do have to tell you
Represent to the fullest.
that last week, Kevin, when I mentioned on this very program I'd never had a Guinness, I got 2 very angry texts from coworkers.
Uh-oh. And have you since had a Guinness?
I have not.
Okay, well, next week, shoot me a text. I will bring you in a Guinness. I'll bring you actually both types that we carry. And to revisit, there's the draft Guinness, which comes with what's called a widget, which is a nitrogen packet that when you open the can, it bursts, giving it a creamy sort of on-tap mouthfeel, like you would get out of a true Guinness tap anywhere. And then they do the extra stout, which is actually more fully leaded, which is going to be more like that 6+, a little bit boozier range. Whereas the draft one comes in at like 90 calories, 100 calories, and only like 3.8%. So it's again another example of a dark beer that isn't heavy or doesn't drink like a dark beer.
How did our friends at Fair State come up with the idea for a Pilsner this dark?
That's a great question. I would have to interview them, but I think inevitably you can only brew a beer so many ways before you just start repeating yourself. And this is kind of one of those things that you don't see. So it's kind of like, hey, let's try doing a dark, a black Pilsner, a black lager, and just see how it comes out. And I'm actually a big fan. I will have more of this before it goes away.
That's incredible, right? That kind of hybrid feel with the look and how it plays off the senses overall. Jay, is this tailgate beer? You said last week's stout was a tailgate beer. First thing in the morning. Is this there?
Yes, it is for sure.
Party starter?
Before the game this weekend or Saturday. It's going to be a little bit chilly. It's going to be.
This is the type of beer, Kevin. I don't mean to cut you off, that I would drink it like this, and then I would accidentally spill this last part on a USC fan. Like,
Are you that
man.
guy? You're that fan that'll throw beer on somebody on accident?
I wouldn't throw it. I would just accidentally, like I'm walking, trying to go down the aisle, just dip it down a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Little parting.
Just
gift.
a little splash.
And you know where you splash it on them? Because it's going to be cold. They're going to probably have those nice little vests on. You know, USC, they think they're going to have real clothes on. They're going to have the vest. It's going to be open right back here. Put it right down the back of their shirt.
Whoops. You can do that. You know, I was at the 83-84 Orange Bowl where we went for 2 and lost. I was at that game in Miami. My grandmother took me. And
you weren't on your way down to the islands?
I was not. No. Her big thing was that she wanted to take each of her grandchildren on a big trip. So we did Disney, we did Epcot, we did SeaWorld, and then went to the national championship game, which was a great trip, Grandma. Rest her soul. And the Miami fans were so bad. I mean,
This is Jay's family you're talking about, by the way.
But in 7th grade, what are you, 12?
Something like that.
Something like that. And then I had my 9-year-old stepbrother with me, and then my grandmother, who was, I don't know, she's probably 70 something at that time. And by the time we left that game, we were absolutely soaked in beer. And I mean, had people cruising down the aisle, flipping us off, and just talking trash, and it was just like, wow, I'd never seen that before, because I'd been to countless Husker games. We had season tickets, and back then you rode the bus like you wouldn't even think twice about it. And I'd come down by myself sometimes if I didn't have a buddy who could come. So I'd load my little thermos with some chicken soup or something like that. I'd hop on the bus, go to the Husker game by myself, 8, 9, 10 years old. And I'd never seen that behavior before. It scared the bejesus out of me, because I was like, wow, but adults really act like this? It was terrible. But, it was just one of those things you sort of live and learn.
That's what we need to do this weekend. Terrorize USC fans.
Why USC? Is there that level of acrimony and disdain for USC, or is it just because they're next on the schedule that it has to be them?
It's the way it's got to be. Just make it just horrible for them.
Don't save it for Iowa, or do it to Iowa too.
Iowa too. Everybody.
You're going to get it. If Jay's there and you're an opposing team, you're going to get it.
So you can tell the Miami's in his blood.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, I mean, that's what made him a good football player. It doesn't matter who was across from you, you're going to get it too.
They'll be all right. They'll go back to California and they get nice, good weather. By the time they land in LA, when they go
they'll
back,
have forgotten all about it.
They've forgotten all about it.
Go down to Rodeo
Then they open
Drive.
up their suitcase with their wet clothes with beer, and they're reminded about it all over again. But
you can't get through customs, or not customs, but do security with all that smell on their clothes.
Excuse me, sir. Will you blow into this tube, please?
Yeah. I hadn't had a drink since last night.
Sure you haven't. Sure you haven't.
Kevin, what did you pour out of that tube for us now?
Again, we are embracing the blackout. So this is a Spanish red wine that has the skull and crossbones on it, and it's called Time Waits for No One.
Oh, I'm taking that one.
Yes, sir. And it kind of serves multiple purposes. So number one, like I said, we're embracing the blackout. Number two, it's got the skull and crossbones. Number three, I'm a big Spanish wine fan. And number four, it's called Time Waits for No One. And that ties into a lot of what's happening with the Huskers. And so I'm in my efforts to remain timely and relevant. I thought it would be an appropriate wine to bring. And basically the way I see it, what happened today was like a renewal of vows, right? So when you have, say you're committed, you and your spouse get married and you're committed and whatnot, and a few years go down the line and you start having kids and life sort of starts to get in the way a little bit, and then you stop and you do a reassessment of your relationship and you recommit and you double down. And that to me is felt like that's what happened today. So remember how I mentioned last week that I didn't feel like Rhule did enough to squash when the rumors came up. And it looked like that.
He was listening to you.
Well, yeah, I don't know if he is or if he isn't. I'm a big Matt Rhule fan, by the way, but the team certainly didn't play like it versus Minnesota. And a lot of that could have been going on to the road, East Coast, time change, come back, go back on the road, short week. That's tough to do. I don't care who you are. But this to me felt like a renewal of vows, and time waits for no one. So no time like the present. And so I think the university committed to him with additional resources as well as a contract extension, and he recommitted to the university and his players. And let's not just think about the players, think about his coaching staff, because if he jumps ship, they're out of a job too. There's no guarantee he's going to take them with him. So, they might have had a little bit of doubt creep in as well. So I think this was a whole recommittal of the marriage of Coach Rhule, the staff, the university, and I'm all for it.
Holy macaroni, not matrimony.
Holy macaroni.
Yeah.
This is good.
This is good.
I like it.
I like this, and I like the skull and crossbones, but this is good. This would go really good. A nice, fat, juicy ribeye.
I think you're spot on. So this is an interesting grape. It's called Monastrell in Spain. In France, they call it Mourvedre, and it grows on the vine almost black, sticking with the black theme. It's a very thick, dark, rich grape type, and it makes a very rich style of red wine. And we've talked about this before. The Spanish reds tend to finish with this sort of smoky spice on the finish. No one really knows why, but they do. It might have to do with the type of barrels, like maybe Spanish oak is different than American or French oak or whatnot. But this is a wine that they're on the shelf every day for $15. You wouldn't know it by how good it is.
Cow.
And the label, I like it because it's got the skull and crossbones on it. For athletics and Huskers and whatnot. Let's face it, it's not super attractive to the average wine consumer coming in,
unless they're a Pirates fan,
or just generally into death. It's just sort of weird label, weird marketing, weird name.
Looks like stay away warning label.
Yeah, exactly. Don't buy this. But
I do.
It actually is delicious. It's rich, it's smoky, and like Jay said, a nice thick fatty ribeye.
Yeah.
It smelled a little spicier initially than I thought it was on the palate, but then I had a little bit more, and then I really got hit by that spice and that smoke. Not overbearing by any sense of the imagination, but my first couple sips, maybe it was the beer, but I thought it was going to be more present just based off the nose. But now I'm really starting to get that spice and that smoke.
Yeah. It sometimes it can take a couple sips to sort of acclimate your palate, and sometimes things complement each other more than others. And so usually after a beer, a wine, you got to sort of wash that out and then give your second sip a real listen to.
Kevin, how come some wines go better with what I like with steaks, and then some like with like pork chops or whatever? Why? What is it for everybody that's listening? So say like they're going home and they want to get a wine because they're going to eat a steak or pork chops or whatever.
So the first thing I'll say is that pretty much everywhere around the world, with the exception of the United States, wine is considered a food. It's not considered a beverage. So when you start to think of it in that context, it starts to make a little bit more sense in terms of why things pair well together. And so when you're pairing things, food and wine, there's a couple things that you want to do. Number one, you want to pair the body. So you don't want to drink a very light wine with a really intense, flavorful food, and vice versa. You don't want to drink a very intense, flavorful wine with light food. So you wouldn't want a wine like this with like a nice light chopped salad.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to be able to taste the salad. It's just going to get overwhelmed. Well, or vice versa. You take a nice light Pinot Grigio and have that with your juicy fat ribeye. The same type of thing, or like Indian food. I mean, it's so spiced up that you'll know you're drinking wine, but you won't be able to taste it. So body with body. The other thing you want to do is that proteins generally lend itself to a red wine. And the reason I say that is because red wines have tannin, and tannin comes from the grape skin. So when they do the crush and they allow those skins to stay in contact, it's a process called what, Austin Norman?
Wait, maceration?
Maceration,
yep.
Correct. And so maceration of the skins infuses tannin into the red wine. It basically creates the wine's skeleton, if you will. And the fruit is sort of the flesh. And so when you're pairing a protein with a red wine, those proteins actually break down those tannins a little bit. So it softens the appeal and integrates the wine with the food. And so essentially what's happening is that when you pair the right wine with the right food, the whole becomes greater than the sum of the parts, because the wine brings the food up a level, the food brings the wine up a level, and together they're more than they are independently. And that's essentially why you pair what you do. Now, why certain things pair with other things, there's, like I said, body with body, proteins. There's another thing that the Italians love to say is that acidity loves acidity. The Italians eat a lot of tomato-based pasta, sauces,
Right.
things of that nature. Tomatoes have a high level of acidity, and so their wines have a high level of acidity. And so when you have an Italian wine by itself, it can taste a bit acidic, a bit of astringent. Now, then when you have
astringent, that's a Thirsty Thursday first.
it is.
I think so. At least
Okay.
since I've been here.
All right, yeah,
I like
astringent.
that. Nice.
When you were a kid and like your mom wanted to give you an aspirin if you were sick or whatever, did she ever dissolve it into a teaspoon of water and then make you drink
I know
it
what
like
you're
that?
talking about. Yeah.
That might have been a 70s kid thing, but that's basically, if you know what I'm talking about, that's what astringent tastes like. But when you have an Italian wine that is acidic and the Italian food, which is acidic, it cancels each other out. And so
two wrongs make a right.
Kind of two. It's not really two wrongs
Not
make
wrongs,
a right,
but-
but two pluses become
a double
plus, or two negatives becomes a plus if we're talking mathematics. So the idea is that that acidity sort of cancels each other out, and then so the depth and complexity and the richness of the wine grows as a result of the pairing with the food, and then vice versa. So that's a sort of a very long answer to a very short question, but it's a complex question, so I felt it deserved a complex answer.
Take that back to your grill, Jay.
I got it. I already know.
On lock? You good?
Yeah, I got it.
There we go.
Red wine is good with them nice fat pork chops and ribeyes.
Protein, baby.
Amen.
And tomahawk.
Speaking of protein, pretty important holiday for protein coming up in less than a month. Remind people what's going on at the store for Thanksgiving.
So we will have our Turkey Day wine sale, and so we will feature probably 30 or 40 different wines that are designed to specifically pair with Thanksgiving dinner. Now, the wonderful thing about Thanksgiving is that you have so many different things hitting the table, you don't have to worry about a particular pairing. If you drink what you like with the food that you're having, like I said, protein loves red wine, but there's lots of things like, the cranberry sauce and the turkey, to me, are a nice pairing. Well, so is Riesling. It has like an apple and pear sort of flavor that goes well with the turkey. But then you've got gravy, and you've got very rich and hearty savory stuff. So you can go with a savory type of wine. There's just you can't make a mistake there. The best part about Thanksgiving is just spending it with family and friends, and having a full meal, and then not having any expectations besides go take a rest and watch some football.
T.I. says, Kevin, that's all great, but it sounds very complicated. Busch Light pairs well with everything.
Hey, you don't got to tell me twice. I know my way around a can of Blue Yummy. I can do that.
There you go. Kevin Meyer, Myers Cork and Bottle, 13th and South here in town. Kevin, as always, great to see you.
Hey, appreciate you,
coming
fellas.
in.
Thank you.
We'll go to break. More of Old School on the other side.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock, perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, frost and patchy fog possible this morning. Otherwise, mainly sunny skies and be breezy today. The high near 59. Tonight, mainly clear skies and light winds. The low around 36. And tomorrow, we'll see increasing clouds throughout the day. It'll be breezy. The high near 54. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Celebrate Halloween with the Lincoln Stars a day early on Thursday, October 30th, as the Stars host the Sioux City Musketeers. Wear your favorite costume to the game, as there's a contest for both adults and kids with prizes for both age levels. Also, it's a Chuck-a-Puck night, and PBR beers are 2 for $6. It's Halloween Eve at the Icebox on Thursday, October 30th versus the Sioux City Musketeers. Get your tickets today at LincolnStars.com.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly, no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown's Shoe Fit. Now through October 31st, take $15 off any regularly priced fall shoes and boots. Brands like Keen, Oboz, Echo, Taos, and Atrex, all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale you've all been waiting for, so get down to Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
You're invited to a Halloween karaoke party at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards on October 31st. Stop by Madsen's from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. for live music and a live podcast, costume contest, poker, and of course, karaoke. Admission is free, and there's still plenty of TVs to catch the Friday night college football games as well. That's 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday, October 31st for the Halloween karaoke party at Madsen's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. It is Old School, Foreman and Orman. This segment of things brought to you, as always, by the great people at Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Check them out online, heartlandofnebraskawindows.com, or you can give them a call. That number is, where'd it go here, 402-430-3852. They offer a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. They're locally and family owned with their own team of installers as well. Again, heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. 402-464-5685. You want to be a part of the show. Speaking of wanting to be a part of the show, Jay, the Louisiana governor, Jeff Landry, had some comments regarding the firing of Brian Kelly. What kind of business is Governor Landry standing on? Let's hear from a press conference that at the time was completely unrelated to Brian Kelly and LSU football, but one reporter asked a question, and here is Louisiana Governor Landry regarding how the coaching search will go at LSU.
To foot the bill. So, yeah, absolutely. I can tell you right now, Scott Woodward is not selecting the next coach. Hell, I'll let Donald Trump select it before I let him do it. I don't know, but the Board of Supervisors is going to come up with a committee, and they're going to go find us a coach. Hold on. One real quick thing on that. Because here's what y'all reporters need to do. Y'all need to start looking at who represents all these people, like these agents. You know what's interesting? If I'm not mistaken, Woodward's agent, Kelly's agent, the Texas A&M, they're all the same agent. Like, you realize if I would be, I don't know how many sports writers we got here today? Just you. We should have a bunch. Okay? Like, this is ridiculous. Lawyers would be disbarred for the way these agents act and the way they're able to represent. In fact, there's no doubt, they may even represent some of the players now. Like, it's really time for the NCAA to put on some guardrails in college sports. Because, and it's fine. We don't need the guardrails. If big billionaires want to spend all that kind of money, no problem. But if I got to go find $53 million from Kemp, it's not going to be a pleasant conversation. I'm just telling you.
There's a lot there, Jay. Where would you like to start?
It was funny. I mean, what he was saying, whereas like the agents and, conflict of interest and, it's not even it's the agents, the ADs and the players but everybody needs an agent now. So really you got to deal with, the way that the world is. It's great that everybody's calling for the NCAA to have guardrails right now, only because it's affecting you. 2 years ago, or after Brian Kelly's first year, nobody had a problem with the contract. You have a problem with the contract when you're not winning. Understandable. You're a state school, we're there and all that stuff. And the governor, obviously he's running the show. I mean, he's essentially the AD, I don't know, emeritus or whatever
emeritus. So here's
he essentially is the King Kong.
He went on McAfee today, same as Nebraska's head coach, who got an extension today.
Yeah.
And said, no, don't worry. I'm not picking the head coach. I'm not going to be involved. His big thing is, well, it's costing the state of Louisiana potentially $53 million, depending on how this goes. And it's my job, my responsibility as governor to make sure that money isn't being wasted, to make sure that we're spending it, properly. Well, Jay, here's the thing. Maybe, just maybe, Jeff Landry isn't the one that's actually selecting the head coach. But it's kind of funny because you think about the governor and his role in Louisiana right now. What the governor does and what Governor Landry laid out is that, yeah, even if I'm not the one picking it, well, I do appoint the board of supervisors, essentially LSU's board of regents. Yeah. So no, maybe I'm not, hand-picking the head coach, but the people that I hand-pick are the ones picking the head coach. I'm the one that essentially just called for the AD to be neutered at the very least, if not fired, because if you're not going to let your athletic director handle a coaching search, what is the point?
Yeah.
Of now? And here's the thing. Troy Dannon said today, well, hiring a football coach, making these decisions is 0.5% of what an athletic director does. Now, it's a very important part. And LSU certainly, of any school in the country, has quite the history of a governor getting involved. I mean, just look up the stories about Huey Long. Yeah. I did some dives on that. Fascinating character, fascinating man in his relationship with LSU. But, okay, you're not picking the head coach, but kind of you are. You're not firing the AD, but you're essentially stripping him of one of the most traditional powers of an athletic director. Like you said, Jeff Landry seems to be running the show at LSU right now.
He's running the show. I mean, he can dance around it all he want and whatever. Dude, you're running the show. You pretty much fired the head coach without the AD's blessing. And then obviously they met with them, and then it seems like the hammer came down from Landry. Because the report was Brian Kelly was going to make some staff changes, maybe not the ones that Woodard wanted, but he was going to make some staff changes.
And when he wouldn't make one extra change, it was, you're gone.
Yeah, and that's probably because Woodard called Landry.
Yeah.
Landry's like, oh, don't worry about this. I got this one. Okay. Thank you.
Say no more.
Yeah. I'll call you back. And the AD is there, and essentially AD just in name. And be interested in how long he's there. And then also it's a bigger thing than that. It's like if you take that job, you know who you're really answering to. So the AD can say whatever he wants. Say they even get a new AD. You ain't running. You really ain't my boss. I get the governor into my back pocket. You gone. So you bow down to me.
Which is where I think the conversation about LSU gets really interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Because everyone's an exaggeration, but a lot of people would tell you with the tradition, with the access to talent and all that, it's the best job out there. But it has maybe one of the biggest downsides out there in that we know that, state universities and politics are, at least to some degree, linked. But at LSU, more than, again, seemingly any other school in the country, at least on the surface, they're inextricably linked. At any time, the governor is going to get involved and change who's over you, the final decision makers, or just kind of exercise that authority seemingly on a whim. Is it really the best job?
Yeah, that's where you dive into the details. It's no different than sometimes this is kind of what Scott Frost said. What he was maybe has some apprehension to come in here. And maybe he felt like the Ducks weren't in a row. Or maybe the pressure was too much. There's a tremendous amount of pressure when you take these jobs because it's not play time. Not sure. Obviously, with the last few coaches, Brian Kelly included, they found plenty of time to play. Brian Kelly played over 100 rounds of golf. All of a sudden, that's a problem. It's a problem when you start losing. But I think when you bring in all these different factors in this day and time where you can go around and get big checks anywhere, you know what I'm saying? You kind of maybe pump the brakes. Because as much as you say 3 coaches have won national titles within 4 years, Nick Saban, Miles, obviously Ed Orgeron, they also were up out of there real quick.
Now, but there's an interesting thing from Yahoo Sports. So Ross Dellinger wrote this. He says there's recent evidence of such a bond between LSU football and politics as well. Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal's support for Les Miles kept the coach employed well after school officials planned to fire him. And LSU's last head coach, Ed Orgeron, was close enough with former Governor John Bell Edwards that the two often texted one another and spent time together at a duck camp only accessible by airboat.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have, there's always going to be that connection, and you got to have that relationship. I think there's always a lot of politics in sports now because, especially in college sports, let's just deal with that, just because there's so much money that they're getting paid, and some of these schools are state schools, so it has to be.
Well, right? That's where it's a difference for Nebraska too, where athletics is self-sustaining.
Right.
It's not taking funds from taxpayers.
Right. But in this case, it is, so that he is your boss. I mean, whether he's indirectly or directly. And so it's just got to be something you be okay with. I don't think it should deter anybody, because I think on the other hand, you have a guy that, maybe he's obviously Landry's probably not, by judge looking at him, it doesn't look like he played a lick of football, but he heavily invested in football, like wanting it to do well. You got that support from the very top. And you have to think that they'll eventually hire a president, which they don't have.
Another factor.
But
Landry's people will hire a president, the ones he appointed.
This is what you talk about when you talk to LSU. President, who's going to be the AD? Is Woodard going to be around? Don't have him call me if you're going to jettison him in a couple months,
Mhm.
right? So you got to get all that ducks in a row. But it goes without saying, you'll have a ton of support, both financially and through the fan base. There probably are about 6 non-negotiable rules at LSU, things that you just don't do or you have to do in order to be successful. Do those, and then get the best staff and best recruiting staff out there, and then get to work. In this day and time, you win, you'll get support, both internally, obviously throughout the athletic department, but then externally through alumni and everybody else throughout the state.
A couple things to clear up from what Governor Landry said. As best I could tell, and I've seen it from a couple other sources as well, it's not the same agent representing A&M, LSU, Brian Kelly, Jimbo Fisher, all that. So I think he was, maybe at one time it was, but at least as of right now, that's not the case. Number two, Scott Woodward was not the one that offered Jimbo Fisher the extension.
He was not.
That was former A&M athletic director who followed former Nebraska president Ted Carter to Ohio State.
Yeah.
So it reflects on Woodward since he fired Jimbo Fisher at Texas, or he hired him, I guess, but Bjork actually gave him the extension. So there's that to keep in mind. And then not like Scott Woodward is a bad athletic director. Maybe you can say he, got unlucky with the Brian Kelly hire, didn't do due diligence, chose the wrong guy. But Scott Woodward was also the one who hired Kim Mulkey. Hard to say she's been bad for LSU basketball, winning a national championship, bringing attention. And Jay Johnson, making that move after everything that went down with LSU baseball, just won another national championship. Now men's basketball has kind of fallen by the wayside. I don't think Woodward would have been in charge when everything went down with Will Wade, but it was close. So no, he's not perfect as any athletic director.
But as any athletic,
but here's the other question, Joe. I'll ask you your question. But how different are they really, LSU and Nebraska? Because it doesn't really matter what other hires you get right if you get football wrong.
Well, yeah, that's 100% factual. Just because, football keeps the lights on and turns them off. And, it's one of those things that I think that, look, with the Brian Kelly, Brian Kelly doesn't come on your radar unless Ed Ogeron, which I didn't think at the time was on the hot seat, but probably there was outside factors.
There have been confirmed outside factors
that maybe led to it. And then so you think this is the new upcoming coach that needs an uptick in talent. It's a totally different era in college football. And you look at him, and maybe you make you feel like you're making the right choice at the time, because who knows if Lincoln Riley said no. And then the next best guy is who? Brian Kelly, because he was willing to bounce from Notre Dame.
Less because of his coaching ability and more so his willingness to go.
Right. Because he was actively recruiting. So sometimes you get what you pay for, but ultimately, they are where they're at. LSU is a very unique place, just like Nebraska. I don't know. I think that, about 25% of coaching hires work to the magnitude that you think that they could. And I think you got to make you got to pay market rate, unfortunately, or unfortunately. And everybody's worried about the buyouts, but never a lot of these. Now, you only worry about the buyout if the guy is not going to coach anymore, because then you're going to be on the hook for the whole thing. A lot of these guys, I think they're going to coach again. I can see Brian Kelly getting in and coaching somewhere. It might not be at the same Apple money, dollar for dollar. He's going to coach somewhere. Look, Brian Kelly's got, he's much like Scott Frost in this sense. I felt Scott had to get some sensitivity training when he was talking to certain type of people or dealing with them.
Yeah.
I think Brian Kelly has to have some sort of sensitivity training, right? And maybe he's so hyper focused on what he has to do that he forgets the peons or whatever he thinks. That's probably more important to him, because I'm sure, he's very demanding as a coordinator. He could probably be viewed as somewhat of a supportive, because I think he's more of an offensive coach. So if I'm a coordinator, offensive coordinator, receiver coach or something, and I have a question, I'm sure he's more than willing to help me do better for him. But are you helping the analyst? Are you helping whatever? Are you shaking hands and kissing babies at the right time with the right people. That's probably where, as he goes on now, because he's going to have to beat this rap now.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're at two blue blood universities and they're kind of saying the same thing, but he was winning.
Right.
I mean,
is Brian Kelly a take a year off guy or jump right back into it guy?
Does he really have the personality for TV?
I could see him going like a second tier network.
If I'm him, I take a year off and then come back about this time next year on TV or something. Unless you have a job that you feel very comfortable at that you can go and build up again. But I don't even know if he has his exit plan money with LSU yet.
No, they're still working on that, which is kind of wild. Oklahoma State?
For him, he can coach. He's got to put together a good staff. He's got to get a plan together, got to get support, and he'll be off to the races. He just got to really probably take care of some things and make sure it's a good culture fit for him. I don't think he has to go down to Louisiana and pretend to be somebody that he's not. I think that's the number one mistake.
Yeah.
I think you go in and understand where you're at and be okay with it and welcome it and then kind of make it your own and learn how to be there. Because you can't just be a regional coach.
No.
Right. You got to be able to go, because if you can't.
Well, I mean, even to that point, I mean, Nick Saban spent most of his career north of the Mason-Dixon line until he went to LSU, to Miami,
then
back to Alabama. Nick Saban is from West Virginia.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe Southern feel, but West Virginia is like its own animal. That's not like South.
I think his dad was like a coal miner or something.
So, something like that. So to your point, Nick Saban wasn't a Southerner. He took his stuff that worked and adapted to the culture he was in and became Nick Saban.
And he made LSU kind of where it's at right now. He kind of came in and he said they didn't have good facilities. He was talking about the practice facility essentially was like 2 miles away from the locker room. He changed that. He made him upgrade some, and then he just got to work. It can work, so I think Brian Kelly, if he wants to do it, he will. And I think he's too young to not be a head coach again. I'm sure he wants to prove a lot of people wrong. I'm pretty sure in his mind, he feels like he was wronged or wrongfully, terminated. And he's probably, itching at the bit to prove himself right and people wrong.
We'll get to work by going to break. We'll wrap up hour 2 of Old School after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at SauterHeyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Celebrate Halloween with the Lincoln Stars a day early on Thursday, October 30th, as the Stars host the Sioux City Musketeers. Wear your favorite costume to the game, as there's a contest for both adults and kids with prizes for both age levels. Also, it's a Chuck-a-Puck night, and PBR beers are 2 for $6. It's Halloween Eve at the Icebox on Thursday, October 30th versus the Sioux City Musketeers. Get your tickets today at LincolnStars.com.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
and electrical.
Are you familiar with everything the Lincoln Children's Museum offers? Camps, field trips, and game day playdates are just a few of the extraordinary programs provided by the Lincoln Children's Museum. When you spend a day with your family at the Lincoln Children's Museum, your child's mind can explore while enjoying the many interactive exhibits they have, while keeping admission prices extremely affordable. Stop by the Lincoln Children's Museum today in downtown Lincoln, or visit them online for more information at lincolnchildrensmuseum.org.
The temperature and leaves are falling daily, so that means it's time for a new pair of shoes for the fall season from Brown's Shoe Fit. Now through October 31st, take $15 off any regularly priced fall shoes and boots. Brands like Keen, Oboz, Echo, Taos, and Atrex all $15 off. Some exclusions may apply. See store for details. This is the sale you've all been waiting for, so get down to Brown's Shoe Fit on 66th and Q.
Hey guys, it's Nick. High school football postseason action is already here, and 93.7 The Ticket is bringing you all the hits starting this Friday. Join me and Jay Foreman from Malcolm High School as we broadcast Class C2 action with 11 seed Lincoln Lutheran doing battle against number 6 Malcolm. Kickoff is slated for 7 p.m. with pregame coverage coming your way at 6:45 p.m. It's the first round of the high school football playoffs, and it's right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here wrapping up hour 2 of Old School, 93.7 Ticket, ticketfm.com. As always, 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of the show. Love to hear your thoughts all show long. Jay Foreman will be back here for hour 3, handling a little bit of business. A little bit more from that Yahoo Sports article. I did a little bit more digging, and it turns out that Scott Woodward was indeed a part of everything that went on with Will Wade in the end of his time at LSU. In fact, Scott Woodward was involved to the level that he was the one that ended up firing Will Wade. So there's that. And then, how about this? It gets a little twistier. You look at where McNeese State is located, not that far from Baton Rouge. And Will Wade ends up winning 50 games in 2 years down there in Lake Charles. And per Yahoo Sports, again, Ross Dellinger, last spring as LSU completed a dismal season under third-year coach Matt McMahon, Governor Landry had an idea. Hire back Will Wade. Governor Landry urged Woodward and university administrators to hire Will Wade back to LSU. And one person with knowledge of the situation said Scott refused to do it. Yahoo Sports does go on to note maybe some difference in political affiliations or tact, maybe in playing both sides of the aisle. Scott Woodward more willing to do so, at least so far, than Jeff Landry is. And that potentially is what led to everything that we saw on display at that press conference from LSU Athletic Director Jeff Landry toward his state flagship university's athletic director, Scott Woodward. To our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line briefly here. Virginia Pirate says Brian Kelly to UCLA. Interesting. I think that'd be a pretty good get for UCLA, all things considered. Would be intrigued by that one. Is it maybe too recently with coaches named Kelly, though, as UCLA loses Chip Kelly? Will fans maybe not be happy about that? 11:51. I think coaches know it's too important to stay connected with players both in college and high school in recruiting to sit out now. Yeah, I think that's a fair point. Keep your relationships at the very least with the coaches at these programs. But in terms of the players themselves, I think that is a fair point. 51-62. Brian Kelly has so much baggage, if you want to keep it radio friendly, that I'm surprised he's still a head coach. Well, 51-62. Do not be surprised. That is, for better or worse, just the way of the world. He is not the only coach with baggage, but certainly his is well documented. We'll go to break. Jay Foreman rejoins for hour 3 of Old School 93.7 The Ticket.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock, perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
For sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you familiar with everything the Lincoln Children's Museum offers? Camps, field trips, and game day playdates are just a few of the extraordinary programs provided by the Lincoln Children's Museum. When you spend a day with your family at the Lincoln Children's Museum, your child's mind can explore while enjoying the many interactive exhibits they have, while keeping admission prices extremely affordable. Stop by the Lincoln Children's Museum today in downtown Lincoln, or visit them online for more information at lincolnchildrensmuseum.org.
Tired of asking what's for dinner? Nourished for Life has got you covered. At Nourished, they're a local meal prep company that delivers fresh, chef-crafted, healthy meals straight to your door. Made from wholesome ingredients and ready when you are. No shopping, no chopping. Just heat, eat, and enjoy every night of the week. Fuel your busy days with balanced meals that are designed to keep you satisfied and energized. Visit nourishedforlife.co to purchase meals and taste the convenience of home-cooked comfort without the hassle.
Rick Heyman here from Starter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Starter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at starterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Bonsall Pool and Spa's annual Spooktacular sale is here. Now through November 1st, get an extra $1,000 off hot tubs at an already low sale price and get $500 off the already low sale prices on infrared and traditional saunas. All hot tub water care products and accessories are also for sale for the Spooktacular sale, now through November 1st at Bonsall Pool and Spa at 33rd and Highway 2. Call for more info at 402-488-0148 or visit bonsallpool.com.
Mike, the insurance company wants us to replace the roof.
Wait, what? I thought everything was fine.
Yeah, it says right here our roof is too old and they won't be able to cover us anymore.
I guess it is 15 years old. Hi, I'm Austin with Roofing Service Company. We help homeowners with their roofing and siding projects. Financing options are available, and we can get you under a new roof no time at all. If this sounds like you, visit roofingservicecompany.com. That is roofingservicecompany.com.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through November 2nd, enjoy USDA Choice 8-ounce bacon wrapped sirloins for $5.99 each. And fresh cut chicken wings, $2.99 per pound. Plus, on Friday and Saturday, enjoy a 2-day sale of USDA Choice Rump Roast, $5.88 per pound, and Farmland Bacon, $4.99 per 16-ounce package. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Midwest Bank is hosting our annual Thanksgiving food drive, partnering with local Lincoln schools to provide Thanksgiving dinners to families in need. We hope to provide meals for more than 120 families in our community this year. You can help by dropping off a donation at either Midwest Bank location, 7001 Pioneers Boulevard or 2655 Jamie Lane. Any donation is greatly appreciated. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Old School on a Thursday, 1040 O Street, live in effect. It is chilly today. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School, the new school way. We are brought to you by the Mercado. Certified Piedmontese, special ingredients of Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Andremat / Old Cheney, and 168th and Maple up there in the O. Obviously, always a lot going on. Obviously, Nebraska re-upped with Matt Rhule and the football program because obviously he's the leader of the football program and, push the chips all in for the foreseeable future, which is right now. And then obviously long down the line to 2032, excuse me. Got a little NFL going on tonight. Two teams that are trying to fight their ways out of the dungeon, the Ravens and the Dolphins. And then, college football openings and Austin. When you think about it, we'll just stick in college football just because it's the coaching carousel, and NFL we could probably get at the very end. But there's so many jobs opening, jobs officially open. That means, they have an interim coach, and you have to think Auburn will come open. That's pretty much a blue blood job, a very fruitful job, I think. And again, a very unique process of being the head coach there.
Just ask Brian Harsin.
It is. I mean, there's a lot of things that probably go on in Auburn that really affect the way that you're able to, or the product that you put on the field. Now, you've had great years. You won a national championship. Cam Newton, who just went up into the Ring of Fame or
Jersey retired, all that good stuff. Yeah.
But you have times right now that, you got the head coach trying to get a, vote of confidence, and you were left on straight silent night with no response.
Since you mentioned Cam Newton, I'm sorry, this literally came up last night with Tristan. He and I were talking back there.
Yeah.
Jay, there's a columnist who wrote this back in 2010, why he voted for Stanford two-way player, fullback and linebacker Owen Marichich over Cam Newton for the Heisman winner in 2010.
Yeah, I remember that.
I did not remember this or even know about it at the time. There's some pretty incredible lines from this. The voters have spoken. The Heisman Trophy will need a lie detector device strapped to its stiff arm. I'd have just one question for Cam Newton. Are you as clueless as you appear to be? Fearing he is, I didn't want to feel responsible for voting for a player who doesn't know New York from New Guinea.
I think, Cam Newton is an interesting, it'd be like a really good, remember when they had E60, 30 for 30, just on him in general.
Yeah.
Very, I think sometimes he's wrongly judged. What you got to think? Okay, you go to Florida, you have the whole computer thing. You go to Blinn Junior College, win national championship. You go to Auburn, obviously do well.
Maybe the best, essentially one and done season
Yeah,
ever.
essentially a one-man show, and you uplifted a whole team in part of Alabama, and then obviously Auburn, and then you go to Carolina, the number one pick. Remember it was debatable between him and Jake Locklear or whatever, and it was obviously Cam ended up being great, and then
it was him, Jake Locker, and
Blaine Gabbert, right?
Blaine Gabbert,
yeah. Who actually ended up being okay. But I think that with Cam, and then you go to Carolina, you kind of take over there, you come in and find your way. You kind of play second fiddle to Steve Smith, and you work along with Steve Smith, and you have your MVP year, and you obviously or go to the Super Bowl or whatever. Then you have the balls on the ground. You watch it. You end up losing the only Super Bowl appearance against Denver, and then you just for whatever reason, whether it's in the script by the NFL. In soft quotes, you just referees just let everybody tee off on you. I remember specifically when they played Denver one Sunday night, or it was a night game, and they had Elvis Dumerville and him and Von Miller. I mean, they were teeing off on him. This is before they had the whole, you can't put your weight on a quarterback, and it ruined his shoulder, which then ruined his throwing motion, and then boom, just like that, out of the league. And I always say there's a thin line from being on TV and versus being at the crib. And then obviously, he has, very, I wouldn't say checkered personal life, but it's very, it's a little different, but it works for him. I know from being in Charlotte, living in Charlotte for a long time. I mean, he's done some really good things. And maybe it's hard just because to where he's at as a player, on how he operates his day life. I can tell you this. Through his charity, they donated $25,000 to my youngest, school, and he was more than personable. Felt like he was there, wasn't just there, take COVID, right? But then you hear other stories around Charlotte, how he acted, and then it's drastically different. And then you start to hear some of the stories from back when he was in Auburn, when he starts to do his podcast and stuff like that. So I just think it's one of those things that it's just that Cam is just
he's Cam,
Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and he's a big old dude. I mean, we saw him down at the Super Bowl.
Saw him here in Lincoln over the summer.
Yeah, does some good things, and I just think he's, probably. I don't know, man. It's weird because I think if you know him, you're cool with him. But I think if you come across him on the wrong day, you could probably have a different view on him. And that's just anybody. But I think he can really be drastic in the way that he, deals with people. At least that's what it seems.
Russell Westbrook-ish? Maybe not quite. Maybe Russ isn't quite to that magnitude.
Yeah, I don't think Russ is to that magnitude, but I could definitely say, like Steve Smith.
There you go.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I think generally people think of Cam as a pretty good teammate.
Generally good
teammate. Steve Smith, not so much.
Yeah. But people have their own opinions on him too.
Right. And that's another one. But it's just.
Anyways, back to your point. Sorry, coaching carousel. Auburn probably open. Florida State potentially. Wisconsin.
I mean, there's a lot right now. It seems like it's the it thing to make a move, because now as much like back a few years ago, it was if you're a coach, you just want to make a lot of noise in recruiting, and that's how you kept your job. It was almost recruiting numbers were as or more important than the real numbers, wins and losses. Now it seems like from an administration standpoint, it's like, hey, man, we can keep that news cycle down here. We can somebody. Now, sure. Is it like, hey, let's look what everybody else is doing and compare it to what we have going on? It's very easy to look at Indiana and then judge what your present coach is not doing.
Yeah.
Right? But then you would also be saying your expectations or your standard is originally where Indiana has or is or was or has been. That is not the case for any of those schools that I just mentioned.
Right.
And you could probably throw in Oklahoma if things don't go right down the stretch. I like.
Does he get a pass because of the injury, though?
He should. I like him though. Again, very lucky to have that job. He's probably turned down multiple head coaching jobs at different times. Kansas State a couple times, where he coached at, and then for Oklahoma. But there's also the domino effect. All these jobs can't be filled by coaches or coordinators. These big time jobs.
Yeah.
But then it's a day and age of all these jobs are open. Sure, you fired coaches and potentially the buyouts, but what are you going to do with the next coach? Because you have to forecast, how long do I have to pay Coach A that I just fired buyout before he gets a job, and what's the offset with that? Then what do I have to pay? Maybe the transfer fee to get a sitting coach, and then a new contract when he comes there. And then
because it's not like if you fire a quote unquote big name head coach or even a big money head coach, you can sit back and say, yeah, we'll take a shot on a quote unquote cheaper guy, JUCO guy. They'll come in and do it for cheap. Hope he's successful. We'll write it out. And then when the money's freed up, oh yeah, we're right back in the game. We're up here at the high roller table. Not how it works.
Yeah. Cause if you do go and say you get a coach on a bargain, right? Say like it's Jay Foreman and I'm coming from Nicholls State or something. Right. And you're paying me well below than what you were paying the previous coach. But I'm not getting the same NIL or financial support through staff and all that other stuff as the previous coach. But then once the buyout from the original coach is up, then you're like, oh, okay, we're doing it. Well, that's fine. You're going to have to pay me some money at the end of that contract. And then you're going to have to pay somebody else. So you just gave away money. So now you're in these positions at these big time universities and blue blood universities. Sure, in the moment is right. And there's probably more reasons that they made these decisions than just the wins and losses, most likely. And probably good reasons in their mind.
Or at least reasons you can argue.
You can argue. But once you make the next decision, it's not guaranteed that it's going to work out.
Right.
And, we've been through it here at Nebraska. I have a lot of friends from the NFL that went to Tennessee. They went through it after Philip Fulmer. So it was like I was like, I told you so. Everybody goes through it, and you're very lucky if you're able to kind of stack really good coaches back to back and continue to win and kind of either hover at, above, or just below the standard that the really successful coach, left.
Which is where I go back to so much of this being more art than science. It's so easy for us to diagnose a lot of these hires that went wrong in retrospect, or the decisions to fire people that went wrong in retrospect. But in the moment, there really is a lot that these athletic directors, or in some cases governors, are weighing. Sometimes it's not as simple as, well, you're underperforming, well, you're under 500 for 4 straight years. This is untenable. We've got to move on, right? Because if you just look at record, okay, well, you're not really even considering firing James Franklin overall. Well, okay, has he elevated the standard to a place where you can look at a specific subset of that record and fire it? What was it like off the field? Because we talk a lot. I mean, maybe with a guy like James Franklin, was that too quick of a trigger?
Yeah.
Brian Kelly, 34-14 at LSU, I think it was. One, year that went off the rails. Was that too quick of a trigger? We talk a lot about, yeah, maybe they let this guy go too quickly, especially with the buyout figure. That's a high number. But you don't know when too quickly is, especially in light of, well, what happens if you hold on to this guy? You're weighing the pros and cons. You're weighing the good and bad. You're weighing at least the best you can project. We hold on to this guy. What gives us hope that he can turn it around? What gives us doubt that this won't turn around and we're going to be stuck in neutral? It's so easy to judge the right answer in retrospect. But in the moment making these decisions, if you get it right, sure, there's more to it than luck. Sure, it takes planning to do, and then you have to make sure you get the next hire right. But a lot of it feels like luck because you can't predict the future. You can make your best guess at the future, and when you get it right, congratulations, you got it right. Either you're clairvoyant and you can be expected to do this more consistently than others, or you did get lucky. You read the winds of change right. You had the inkling, you took it, and who knows what's going to happen next time.
And also where you're at as a program and where you want to be in the short term and what your standard is, because this is off the the Power Four, but Kent State, right? They thought they had their coach, pretty much Minnesota of the Midwest, and Kenny Burns. He had some off the field issues. Had nothing to do with coaching, just some prior issues at Minnesota that he thought he had taken care of. Now he got to Kent State, and it really got out of control. Well, they had to go to an interim coach who end up being Mike Carney, and they're 3-5, 2-2 in the MAC. He just got re-upped to 2029. So it lets you know people have to make deals and make decisions in the immediate future and right now, and
in their own context.
In their own context, right? They can't worry about what Kirk said and Eddie did, or what the present James Madison coach is doing, and would he take this job? Because it'd be arguably, I could argue against, that's a lateral job for the coach of James Madison. You got to think, when Mel Tucker had that magical portal year, and it was all Kenneth Walker III, because that's the star player, right? Nobody talked about the 6 guys that never played, right? There were leftovers that eventually started playing, but Kenneth Walker III and had some other players.
Naylor, Reed, recent year from Thorne.
But it was all hit, right? It's like you split, I don't know, I'm not a big blackjack, but you split 10s, and you got another 10, you split that, and then you got 3 aces, then you got, and
you're rolling.
Right, you're rolling. And you do that 2 or 3 times. Well, when he came up after that year, Michigan State had to guard against what they thought at that time was a guy that was going to lead their program for the near future. They didn't really think once that happened, he's going off the rails. You can't project big bonus or big uptick in notoriety, power within the Michigan State athletic department, and what's going to happen, right? Because it affects everybody. Now it affects where Michigan State is at. They thought, Jonathan Smith would be great. I thought it's a match made in heaven. Now it's like he's too much football. That's their biggest thing, is he's just football all the time. Now we got to get rid of that dude because he's football all the time. They could argue that Mel Tucker lost that a little bit, right? Right. And so just 4 weeks ago, DeBoer was out at Bama. They were talking about how we're going to scrounge up the money, and you got to think Bama had Nick Saban, and the basketball coach Nate Oates having a come to Jesus with donors. Where we need some more money to compete, and they're potentially getting rid of DeBoer. DeBoer reacted the right way. You found out what he's made of, and he saw that what he's made of, and what he did is what Brian Kelly maybe didn't do. He didn't run from it. He didn't push back on it. He hadn't changed who he is like when he goes home. But when he's in those walls in Alabama, you're seeing a different from
something like that. Yeah.
Because you're right. Because then he went to Fresno, right? He's a Midwest guy. He's down in the deep South recruiting and figuring it out. And so this whole carousel of what the parameters are, what they go around coaching, and who they hire is definitely different. Auburn's definitely different, man. It goes without saying. I mean, look, you can look it up. Turner Gill, when he was at Buffalo, was originally thought to go to Auburn. All right, to be the head coach at Auburn. They found out he had a white wife. They was like, that ain't happening. So it's a different type of dynamic when you're in different places, and you got to understand where you're at. You got to understand, like, okay, well, this is where we're at. This is where we're going, and we got to stick to it. Because in this day and age of college football, when you're not really fostering coaches, because if you really like a coach, so if I'm at, let's not say Florida State, because there's a little bit different. Let's just say you're Penn State, right? Let's just go with Penn State or one of the big three. If you're taking a coach that's making a huge step, you have to be lock and step with him and keep him out of running off the road, because he doesn't know. You know what I'm saying? And it's
like driver's ed at some point.
And then
prove you can do it in the parking lot, but hey, until you pass the actual test when adversity hits, we're going to be here in the car with you.
You're parallel parking at the little driving course versus in the city.
Yeah.
And you got to keep doing it till you perfect it, and then you got to support them. You can't just jump ship. And whether it's James Franklin probably wore people thin and maybe thought you just, you're never going to get past it, and you want to find somebody that you're willing to take some risks to do it. it seems like as the money has become so big in college football that they're willing to take more risk. You're willing to fire a winning coach.
Mhm.
You're willing to look past and look, some of the things that they would never hire a coach like before. So, for instance, like even though Indiana generally has never like been a football school, in the past they weren't desperate enough to hire Kirk Cignetti because he was coming from a small school. They want a name guy, right? Because it sells tickets. Now you got this dude up here came in here, lit it up. Now Indiana's like neck and neck with their footballs with the basketball.
Football's probably ahead of basketball right now.
Right.
Not in terms of interest and all that.
But
It's
as
kind
far
of
as
the
like
flash in the
revenue,
pan for now.
right?
But yeah.
But so now you're at the same table. It's no different than Stoops was at some point when Calipari kind of wore people thin. He had that really good year when he had Will Levis and
Wandale and Josh Allen.
right?
Yeah. Liam Cohen.
Right. And they, gave him some more money. So you got 11 openings now since Kent State's been filled. What do you think the maximum number? I think it's going to get close to 20. This on a big scale. Like,
yeah,
if you got 11 now, you got to think Auburn's going to be open.
Auburn most likely, Florida State most likely. I'm skeptical on Wisconsin just given McIntosh's comments. I think that one's kind of 50-50.
50-50, yeah.
Depending on how things end for Baylor.
Okay, Baylor.
Potentially.
Michigan State, maybe.
Michigan State, maybe, which I think that'd be dumb, but
Kentucky.
It's got to be on the table.
So I just got 5 more. So now we're at 16
at
16,
least.
17.
Yeah. Then are you looking probably not at Mississippi State quite yet? No. If Lane jumps, Ole Miss becomes open.
Sure, but that's
TBD. But I'm just saying if. So there's another potential.
Now, what about like North Carolina State?
I'd say Carolina before Carolina State.
Okay, North Carolina. So now you're at 17.
Trying to think through. Nothing's happening at Colorado. Nothing's happening.
Clemson, no.
No. Virginia was one before the year, I would have thought. But shout out to that.
Hold on, we forgot. Virginia Tech's open. So now we're at 18.
Oh, yeah, they're already there. Yeah.
So we're at 18. So we just need 2 more. There's always somebody. Arizona might get mad or something, get him out of there.
Yeah. I mean, does Jed take a different job? That's a knowing smile. Jed Fish, UCLA head coach. You heard it here on Old School first.
Well, no, we're at 19. UCLA's open.
Yeah.
Right?
Missouri's open if Drinkwitz takes one.
Yeah, but I think I'm just talking about the ones that are actively open, the ones that are most likely going to be open. It's just
so hard to tell, especially if you factor in mid-majors.
Yeah.
20 seems reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot.
It's like almost historic.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And are there 20 legit coaches out there available?
We're going to find
TBD.
out. Yeah, we're going to find out. I mean, and then you can think of the ones of, like, could you see them kind of trying to nudge Kurt Ferentz out of there? Or could he just get tired of like looking over his shoulder like, all right, I'm done? Do you think, or let me ask a better question, do you think they'll allow him to pick his head coach in waiting? I think
it kind of seems too late for that. They should have before, but kind of seems too late for that. Unless Parker's too old.
LeVar Woods?
So unless it's LeVar Woods, and that's like understood within that athletic department, I think it's probably too late for him to pick one.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's interesting. Could be.
Yeah,
but I feel like for Iowa, would it be Bielema or bust? Do you think they can pull him from Illinois? Wait till things go down a little bit there?
Money, I don't know. I mean, it's
or is Iowa a sneak team for Fitzgerald?
Yeah, I mean I think that's the dark horse in all these jobs.
Think you should be.
I mean, I'm sure he's got his eye on that and trying to make.
Be really curious to see Fitzgerald at a public school versus a Northwestern school.
Well, hold on. Now we're at 19. Stanford's open.
Yeah.
Cal could be open.
Could
Wilcox, but they're actually exceeding expectations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Boston College. They're probably not getting rid of O'Brien right now.
I think he's. But there's a lot of. I mean, there's a lot of schools, man, that got some dudes that they're, some back channel conversations, and We got one coming in this weekend.
Yeah.
Nebraska handles their business. I would not like to be out there in LA. Right?
Yeah.
Because I will take a quick break, but part of I think is because USC thinks they should never lose to Nebraska.
Well, they haven't lost to Nebraska yet.
Yeah. But I'm saying just
until Saturday, question mark?
They losing this Saturday.
Yeah.
Jay Foreman, Austin Norman, we'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Fairway Meat Market, you're family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. Now, through November 2nd, enjoy USDA Choice 8-ounce bacon-wrapped sirloins for $5.99 each. And fresh-cut chicken wings, $2.99 per pound. Plus, on Friday and Saturday, enjoy a 2-day sale of USDA Choice Rump Roast, $5.88 per pound, and Farmland Bacon, $4.99 per 16-ounce package. That's all at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center, just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Midwest Bank is hosting our annual Thanksgiving food drive, partnering with local Lincoln schools to provide Thanksgiving dinners to families in need. We hope to provide meals for more than 120 families in our community this year. You can help by dropping off a donation at either Midwest Bank location, 7001 Pioneers Boulevard or 2655 Jamie Lane. Any donation is greatly appreciated. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank, member FDIC.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Did you know that deer collisions are covered under the comprehensive portion of your car insurance? That means, like with hail damage or vandalism, since they are out of your control, they don't usually raise your insurance rates. And that's a good thing, since most deer don't carry liability insurance. At Eustace Body Shop, we fixed all kinds of animal collision damage, from cows to raccoons, bobcats, and even turkeys. We can't do much for the animal, but we can get your car back on all fours and looking like new again.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Bonsall Pool and Spa's annual Spooktacular sale is here. Now through November 1st, get an extra $1,000 off hot tubs at an already low sale price and get $500 off the already low sale prices on infrared and traditional saunas. All hot tub water care products and accessories are also for sale for the Spooktacular sale, now through November 1st at Bonsall Pool and Spa at 33rd and Highway 2. Call for more info at 402-488-0148 or visit bonsallpool.com.
Hey guys, it's Monet here with The Night Before. What could be better than watching football with up to 20 beautiful ladies? The Night Before now has a 12-foot video wall for you to watch all the big games. Just like the players, you need to practice though. Repeat after me. Hey honey, I'm going to watch the game with the guys. I'll be home as soon as the game is over. It's all in the details. Come watch a game at The Night Before. Mention this ad and your first beer is $1.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you.
Copple Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Copple is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Copple Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at copplecars.com.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Hey guys, it's Nick. High school football postseason action is already here, and 93.7 The Ticket is bringing you all the hits starting this Friday. Join me and Jay Foreman from Malcolm High School as we broadcast Class C2 action with 11 seed Lincoln Lutheran doing battle against number 6 Malcolm. Kickoff is slated for 7 p.m. with pregame coverage coming your way at 6:45 p.m. It's the first round of the high school football playoffs, and it's right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Second segment, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. We're back in effect. Appreciate you guys on the text line sending in the multiple jobs that are open. We forgot to mention Oregon State. We'll go through some text here. We got Old Dad 34. Do you think Kurt Ferentz is done after the season? I mean, if you're judging off of last week, I think they're hitting their stride. I think the quarterback's starting to play well. Their offensive line is good. They're back. The defensive line is good. They're starting to catch their stride as a young, inexperienced, playing together defense. Mm-hmm. I think Iowa is starting to Iowa right now. They're rolling right into shape right now.
And the best part about it for Husker fans is Gronowski's done after this year. So I got to go get from the portal again for quarterback.
Gronowski reminds me of just a dude that's playing flag football, just doing work. You just don't know where he went. You know he played in college. Mm-hmm. You know when he's like, say he's about 30 or 40 years old, right? You know he played in college. You know, he looked like somebody that maybe you thought you'd seen on TV. Mm-hmm. No, that's not him. You find out like 2 weeks later that was him. You're like, yeah, he did us dirt too. he gave us work too. So, I mean, look, everybody wants to, talk about coaches getting fired, and as soon as you get hired. Okay, for instance, Matt Rhule signs an extension right now. Now, whether you like it or agree with it or whatever, that's fine. That's everybody's personal opinion. But what's funny is one of the biggest focuses, which rightfully so, because of the climate, is like, all right, well, what's the bio? Like, this dude's still coaching.
Yeah.
You got a game in 48 hours, literally, probably 48 hours.
Which to 5162's question, he says, I don't understand the mass movement of midseason firings instead of postseason firings. I don't understand the logic.
I don't either. I think sometimes you can jump out there quick, thinking that you. I mean, I think there's two ways. I mean, I'm sure. Okay, I don't know. First of all, I don't know. I'm not at Penn State. I'm just looking at James Franklin. Right, he's been extremely successful. I think he exceeded expectations last year with their team, getting that far to the Final Four. I think they played better than even maybe he thought and then they thought. I think he might even say what I'll believe he coached better last year. I think that game in the Big Ten championship, which obviously was even better, they were able to at times go toe-to-toe with Oregon. Now they end up losing and all this other stuff, but then they got it back right. You saw true improvement in Drew Aller. You had 2 NFL running backs. I mean, you had talent everywhere. Mm-hmm. So he's like, okay, we can't get rid of you now. USC kept Lincoln Riley. We definitely gonna keep you. So, but now it was you come in preseason number 1, the first time I think ever, like in his tenure, right? Yeah. And then like, okay, then you go through this, you're struggling. So I think they pulled the plug on him because they didn't want to give him no chance to kind of get it together. I think maybe some of the things that they might not have liked in years past, they might not have liked, but maybe might appreciate later. They was like, there's no time like the present, and we have the built-in excuse that, okay, UCLA, a little bit of a hangover. That's it. That we'll give you that. At home against Northwestern, no way. Good night.
Let me try to understand the logic of midseason firings. In a perfect system where people are respectful of boundaries and other people's work going on, the reason that you would fire a coach in midseason is because your preferred candidate is already out there on the market, not a sitting head coach. Someone's out of a job or someone that
on TV,
something like that.
Yeah.
That is why you do midseason firing. So you can be the first one
My phone ain't ring yet.
to start having those conversations with a coach. Here's the problem is that when midseason firings turn into, hey, our preferred candidate is currently employed and occupied at another university. And then as much as we, would prefer a system where that's not the case, it's the reality. Why Matt Rhule addressed the rumors that he did, because were they really rumors? Leave that up to you to decide, right? Same thing with Kurt Cignetti. Maybe Penn State reached out, maybe they didn't. But the system that we have is one that whoever your candidate is, you want to be the first to talk to them. And you don't care if it's week 3, week 4, week 5, week 6. If you think other teams are going to be on the guy that you want to coach your program, you would like to be the one to make contact first. It's a race in that way. So until we get back to a system where it's illegal to talk to coaches while the season's going on, you got to wait till after the season. Waiting till after the season will never be the reality. And even then, people are going to skirt that rule. Oh, I didn't talk to him. Yeah. Now my people talk to his people, but since I never had direct contact, it doesn't count.
Don't matter anymore.
So it doesn't, which is why we're not getting away from midseason fire.
I had talked to a coach that coached with Scott Frost, and when he fired that whole offensive staff, but talked to 2 of them. Their biggest gripe with him, or one of them in the profession, and I wonder if it changes because your head coaches, is that when you get fired in the middle of the season or with a significant amount of games left, it's looked upon like you did something really, really bad. Like, well, say at one point in time, a recruiting violation, or, you did something
off field,
right.
Interpersonal. Yeah.
That. I wonder if that's the same with the head coaches where, say like if I'm at another university just evaluating that situation, that I might potentially be looking at that guy in one of any of these schools, 20 schools that we just talked about, or potential guys, like, dang, he must have did something outside of losing some games. They had to get rid of him ASAP. Might not have been letter of the law, like you did something off the field, but you were so bad internally that they were like, we're done.
It's untenable.
Right,
we can't afford this.
Right. And we just need to get rid of it now and try to rehab the environment to make it better for whoever come in.
Which in that case would be the sunk cost, right? You can't talk yourself into, well, we don't have the money, so we have to keep this guy. But you also have to be aware of the economic reality, because that, I think, gets to what 8438 asks. Are there any schools who keep a coach this year because of so many potentially getting fired, the shallowness of the pool, like you've said?
I think a lot of them, I think
they might. And for 1 or 2 schools, it's probably going to be a blessing in disguise, right? That's what I said about Wisconsin, where I don't think Fickell's this bad of a coach. Maybe he is. Maybe he just doesn't know what he wants, and that ultimately reflects on him. But if Wisconsin really invests in Luke Fickell, I think they could be pretty good again. I really do. Maybe that's,
what do you think he needs to do? I have an idea. What do you think he needs to do?
Well, I think he's got to figure out what he's about and how he goes about it. I think he's kind of vacillated back and forth between what he wants to be, talking one thing and being about another. Maybe the support is an issue, but, does it really take $30 or $40 million to build a roster? If it's going to be a struggle for Nebraska to get there, I can't imagine it's much easier for Wisconsin. So I think he's got to acclimate himself to the reality of his situation, keep asking for that money, facilities upgrades, and, roster investments, what have you. But I still think it's pretty clear that Luke Fickell and Wisconsin haven't been able to translate what it is they're about, their quote unquote identity, quote unquote culture, fit, whatever you want to call it. Figure out who you are as a head coach. You knew who you were at Cincinnati as a first time head coach, really. I mean, I know he was the interim at Ohio State for that year when Nebraska beat him here in Lincoln. But what is Wisconsin football? He doesn't know. More money's not going to make you figure out who you are unless your athletic director says, hey, I'm a Wisconsin football guy. I'm an alum. I know this program. Let me tell you what Wisconsin football is about. Make it work with these coaches and this type of player or else.
Yeah, I think, I think it's got to be, it's a bye week. So you'd like to think, obviously you got to recruit and all that. And, and I think unfairly, the stories came out leading up to the Oregon. And it's always weird where these stories come out because everybody, the local media expected them to go out to Oregon and get blasted. And they competed. And they actually looked like they had changed some things, especially defensively. They looked way different than they had played. You know what I mean? They looked like they faster. They kind of got it. So you have to really have these conversations. I think you would want to have some conversations with him on, okay, tell me right now, what is your identity? What is Wisconsin football to you? And then you have the AD or people, that. But I think more importantly, now I don't know what his relationship is with Barry Alvarez. I know, and I think Barry Alvarez isn't even involved. He's not the athletic. He's not.
No, because McIntosh.
Right,
but so he's still in that emeritus-ish role.
He's still
prominent voice.
He's
but
coming
not.
from Florida when he does it, right? Because he's always, he's giving me a run for the money as far as his tan, right? When I see him, maybe he's like, "Dang, Barry, he's looking, you living the life." But I think if I'm Luke Fickell and we move forward, I think he needs to kind of like get with Barry Alvarez and get with him and pick his brain how he was able to build that program. Because what Luke Fickell did, he really just came and stripped that whole program down to the bare bones forcibly because Paul Chris was winning.
Yeah.
So to build it back up, it can't be, what was it with the spread offense, and you're gonna have to have some sort of mix.
Which is weird because Longo had the 2,000-yard guys at North Carolina running the ball.
Right. But
that's Carolina.
Yeah.
That's
and
ACC.
Then you had Braylon Allen, and then you barely wanted to give him the rock.
Yeah.
Because, it's questionable whether you win another game this year, but you're going to have to show improvement. And if they bring you back, and they said that they're committing resources to probably uptick your NIL, right? Probably uptick your being able to pay and retain assistant coaches or bring in some analysts and all that. So you got to increase the staff. But you also have to address whatever it is that's missing. Because Luke Fickell is a Midwest guy. He's from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
He's tough dude. He's a wrestler.
Yeah.
So he fits Wisconsin. You get what I'm saying? So there's something that's not connecting. Whether it was, 51% wanted to hire him, 49% didn't, and the 49% is looking at I told you so, or he feels not at home. Look, we're here. We're in this together. Right? Because, look, Luke Fickell probably has a family, wife, and kids. And so does his staff. He doesn't want to get fired from there. I don't think he took the job for money. I'm sure he had other options. So I don't think he could have probably just stayed at Cincinnati.
Oh, of course he could have stayed.
So
there's a sliding doors moment. Luke Fickell doesn't leave. Are we at Marcus Freeman playing for national championship last year? Probably not. But it's also interesting to look back in retrospect where, Luke Fickell, I think in most people's minds was probably the bigger fish, college football playoff appearance. Wisconsin was certainly in a better spot than Nebraska was when they made that move. And yet it's hard to argue that Nebraska hasn't had a better return on its investment. It hasn't worked out better for Nebraska so far.
Nebraska definitely has. And they both have been there the same amount of years.
Same offseason.
And really, it was thought that Luke Fickell was just going to take them to the next level, which was the college football playoffs. Like he was going to take Wisconsin and just add the cherry on top. Well, that cherry was, right now it looks like it's spoiled. I just think it's an interesting look of Luke Fickell where he's at, administration where they are at, where they want to go, what's going to be the conclusion? And it has to happen right now. Like, this conversation has to happen right now, because you can't say, I need you to win 3 out of the last 4. It's not happening.
Right.
We got to play better football.
But even if it does happen, then you're Billy Napier. And what's the point of running it back if you know you don't like the guy?
Right. So it's got to be some conversations. All right, look, Luke, it's not working. You don't look like you want to be here, right?
Yeah, I do.
No, you don't. No, you don't. And then you just put on the tape. Well, you remember when you scored that last touchdown, in so-and-so game, and you didn't even congratulate the kid? What were you thinking? You looked like you were thinking about, man, those Cincinnati Bearcats look pretty good with some of the players I recruited, right? Or whatever it is. I just think it's hard because I think he's a good coach. I don't know what the deal is or whatever, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that didn't want to see Paul Chryst, be let go, and so maybe he's fighting against that. Just like people, it's not his fault. They let Paul Chryst go, and they called him. You can't be mad at him. You got to be mad at that. But sometimes they blame him. Again, Wisconsin's kind of a unique place. I mean, look.
Football state, basketball state.
That's a football state. Them big linemen make them dudes. I don't know what they do. I have no idea where they get those big humans. They definitely drink the milk right out of the cow. Straight, dude. They are huge. It's a football state. But they got some cold-blooded basketball players that come out of there.
They do. Iowa football state or basketball state?
Iowa's a wrestling state.
Fair. Illinois, football or basketball?
Basketball. Just because.
And Minnesota's a hockey state, so we know that.
Yeah.
Not that matters, but
you know what's crazy? But you know what's crazy? Some of the best players that play basketball in Wisconsin are from Minnesota. It for real.
Yeah, I believe you.
And it's kind of like, oh, we don't want them here because at Minnesota they think they need to go recruit nationally, so they don't recruit locally. Then the local guys go and beat the rivals to come back and beat. It's always a little something. So. Anyways, look, we're going to take a quick break, come back, because I want to stay on this Wisconsin 2026 schedule. Because you know who they get that party started with on September 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they got another one on September 19th. Yeah, so if I'm Luke Fickell, I need some more money to compete. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, we need more time. But time is out right now. Quick break. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. From now through the end of November, Ferndale fresh turkeys are just $3.99 per pound and in limited stock. Perfect for your holiday meals. Plus, you can stop by for lunch on Fired Up Thursday at the Mercado East or Fired Up Friday at the Mercado North. With locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha, get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Hi, Sean Callahan here, and I've got some great news for you. Copple Chevrolet GMC is proud to be the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln metros. Copple is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. We want to say thank you to all of our customers that have helped us reach these milestones. So come see why so many customers, including myself, are choosing Copple Chevrolet GMC for their automotive needs. Please check us out at copplecars.com.
When it comes to concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction doesn't stall. They go for the takedown. As Nebraska's full-service concrete contractor, they stay in bounds, hold inside position, and never forfeit quality. Whether it's foundations, flatwork, or concrete coatings, they elevate performance and pin down results that win every time. Stevens & Smith Construction is a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket. Because when it's time to wrestle with concrete, Stevens & Smith Construction slams expectations.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
There's always a new experience to be had at Arbor Day Farm in Nebraska City. From events, adventures, wine tastings, or the Discovery Ride, you can never get tired of seeing what the property has to offer. Make a weekend out of it by staying at the Lead Lodge and enhance your stay with their special packages that include luxurious treatment. Learn more or book your adventure today online at arbordayfarm.org.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program by building a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Did you know that deer collisions are covered under the comprehensive portion of your car insurance? That means, like with hail damage or vandalism, since they are out of your control, they don't usually raise your insurance rates. And that's a good thing, since most deer don't carry liability insurance. At Eustace Body Shop, we fixed all kinds of animal collision damage, from cows to raccoons, bobcats, and even turkeys. We can't do much for the animal, but we can get your car back on all fours and looking like new again.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, we're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. Quick segment here before we turn it over to what we got, the gymnastics? Think it's weeknights?
Could be. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Austin, it's the Ravens against the Dolphins. The Ravens are going to beat the brakes off the Dolphins.
If they don't, it's a problem.
Jake, you know what the funny thing is? Jake Sorensen texted me talking about Buffalo was playing the Dolphins. He's like, we need to take a trip. For what? You guys ain't competitive.
Why do you want to see that, Jake?
And it's too cold. I ain't going out to Buffalo right now.
Not even your last time to see the old stadium?
No, I'll go when the new one is.
There we go.
But I want it to be competitive. We like beating Jake when he has his hopes up.
That might be another 5 years.
No, because every offseason he thinks he's ready. He walks around with fins up and all that.
He talks a big game. He does not believe it. He does not believe it. Not for a second.
Jake will flip on you quick, though, as a fan. I mean, he is doomsday.
He didn't even go to the playoff game in Kansas City.
But he's doomsday, though. Soon as they lose one game, he's ready to fire everybody.
Mm-hmm. Now, imagine that multiplied over every day of a baseball season. You play 17 times in the NFL. So, obviously, each game carries a lot more weight. Do not try telling that to Jake Sorensen, who thinks every single Major League Baseball game carries the same weight as a 17-game football.
And he's a Royals fan, right?
He is.
Yeah, that's tough. Or you could be like Nick Sainer, be a Cubs fan. They look at us, everything, and then you just game 5, go home.
Whoops.
What you feeling on the Dodgers losing to the Maple or to the Blue Jays?
I said Dodgers in 6. I did say Dodgers in 6. Obviously, that's out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, got to be Dodgers in 7 or Blue Jays in 6. People weren't giving Toronto enough credit. I get it. They're the Dodgers. They spend all their money, but Toronto was good.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't get to the World Series and not being good, not being legit.
Well, baseball's a little different. You can kind of fake it in baseball a little bit more than football. Certainly more, I think, than basketball. But Toronto's good. I mean, they had this reputation of, they just don't strike out. They just put the ball in play. They're just little slap hitters. They got some power dudes. I mean, their stars are playing like stars. I mean, Vladdy Jr. has been incredible. Springer being out does worry me a little bit. But what did Toronto do? They got the performances of a lifetime from a rookie who started this year in low A ball. Think about that. He was in Complex League at the start of the year. And now he's shoved against the Yankees and the Dodgers in 2 of the 3 rounds that he's pitched in. They've gotten contributions from their stars, which you need in October. They've gotten role guys to step up, which you need in October. And they're taking advantage of the Dodgers' mistakes. I mean, you don't get to Blake Snell like that. You lose twice.
Yeah.
You lose the 18-inning game. You feel like that's deflated.
They come back the next day and represent it.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Toronto's been incredible this series. And now Dodgers out, but unless Mookie Betts really turns things around on the road here in 2 games,
It's the real deal, man. And plus, they got one of the few times that I used to get baseball cards. I used to get his dad's card all the time, Dante Bichette, because his son's on the team. Looking just like his dad, too. Everything, yeah.
Greg Varsho's kids playing.
Yeah, that's like the second, the bloodline. That's the hey, man. I would send you this picture that I got a bloodline with T. Lou in, and I ain't gonna do it, man. He got the fro and everything. Bloodline. Go Nuggets.
So Bach and Farley were talking about T. Lou earlier today. He played in the games. He was not a part of the racket.
That's it. Anyway, please. Anyways, Jay Forward off the door. I heard it all. He played in the games. I didn't know where it was going. I just had $50,000 in my pocket on accident. We'll holler at you tomorrow.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs.